it's a new era for All Elite Wrestling. We are post a triumphant pay-per-view in Revolution, and it appears to be another new era here for the Dynamite review. We have a special guest in attendance, much to discuss. Folks, we hope you're well on this wonderful Thursday evening. Please do like the video, subscribe, and prepare any super chats. I know we have a couple lined up already, but first, our wonderful panel. Firstly, my usual cohort on these programs. AO, how are you this evening, mate?
Fucking building. Great Dynamite last night. Ever since my EVPs put their foot down, you've seen a real shift in the company. A real fire lit under the talent's ass. A new era, as you said.
Absolutely. It's a big time, and it's a big time around here. The chat's already noticing. It is, in fact, that is not Charlie of Great Britain and WrestlePurists. She is, I believe, at a wrestling show. I don't actually know if that's true, but I just assume if Charlie's not on the show, that she's at a wrestling show.
She's at the Progress show, and she's actually on her way home about now. She probably will be passing through. So,
oh, okay. Yeah, well, nonetheless, without Chuck in attendance, it was important to AO and I that we got like a big guest on. Someone like a real heavy hitter. They were all doing other things, so instead we got Monty to come on here on this Thursday evening. But you're not hosting tonight, Monty. This is your night off, feet up, sun shining over you. Just enjoying some wrestling talk with you, mates. How are you, pal?
Just here to hang out.
I'm good, man. It's definitely different not hosting and stuff like weird, that. Right? So I'm locked in though. Ready to go, ready for this Dynamite we're going to talk about.
And there is a lot to talk about, right? Like this was, again, just even before we get into things, we're going to start by talking about like kind of the intro and the look and all that good stuff. But first, it makes sense, I think. It appears we've got some super chats lined up, mate. Take it away.
We do. We appreciate y'all support. Let's get into them. Karen, 200. What is this?
Rupees.
200 rupees. We appreciate you. Are they going back to Kenny Hanger as a tag soon? Showed them winning the tag belts in a package, and the Bucks screwed them both in the same seg. I don't think so.
I don't either, but that is an interesting link, to be fair, right? That is, yeah.
Will they tag again in the future? Yeah. Soon? I don't think so. I think Hangman's gonna have a real heel run here, like a sustained heel run away from Kenny, away from the Bucks. Kenny's gonna keep being a babyface. I would assume we see a Kenny versus Hangman feud before we see a tag team.
If anything, they may have them team up to set up that feud, actually, right? Like they may do it as like a one-off in an angle where Hangman then turns further in that direction. I don't know, Monty, what do you think?
I don't know. It's,
Me either.
Obviously, the Kenny Omega element, it's a weird one, isn't it? Because, like, as Charlie asked at the media scrum, because he was literally advertised for the Canada shows that are coming up, and obviously that was kind of just, I guess an oversight or whatever, a slip up by the marketing team. But, even Tony was like, it would be unfair to try and put, like, an estimate on when he's going to come back. Sean mentioned something in his report earlier about Kenny Omega. I'll try to quickly find it. So on Fight for Select, Sean put, we're told that as things stand, there is no timetable on Kenny Omega's potential return, and the angle was to debut Okada, add him to the Elite, and set the stage in the event of Omega's return down the line. So there's no timetable on it. So
yeah, it's just something that's going to be there waiting for you, basically, right? When
he's
ready.
There's a lot of it, man. There's a lot of it.
Yeah, so, very interesting.
You're not thinking about it. So obviously you've got the Young Bucks just running like the rest of the Elite they've all gone insane. They've lost the absolute plot. The Young Bucks are going crazy as EVPs. Hangman is gone completely unhinged, and obviously it will set up Kenny Omega to come back and be like, "What's going on, guys?" And be the babyface sort of thing. I was thinking about there is probably an opportunity to include Kota Ibushi in this if he's also fit around the same time, which I think could be very interesting to see how they incorporate. Because they've signed him now, he's there, he's signed him now, and obviously with some of the great talents that are involved in this overarching elite story,
it would make sense. Yeah,
I'm sure they can kind of come up with some smoke and mirrors to get him through a few tag matches and stuff.
I just he's got to be a ways away still, right? He has to be, doesn't he?
Kenny could be though. This is what I'm saying. Like
For
Kenny
sure,
could still
for
be
sure,
like
yeah. You're
2
right.
months, 6 months, 8 months. We don't know. So
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
We saw
Interesting.
made his first public appearance since being diagnosed with diverticulitis. Last week, looked happy, looked healthy. Hopefully he's back soon. I won't start panicking until like All In, honestly. Hope he's feeling better though. Scott, $2.80 Canadian. We appreciate you. Can you feel the mana? Absolutely. Absolutely,
Nice.
brother.
Runs through my veins, right? I always feel it.
Zora Hart, $10 super chat. Seems like a handful of names are all up for face heel swap. Swerve, Hanger, Trent, Stat. Is there anyone you'd add to that list? And is there anyone you do not want to see swap?
That's a good question. Good question.
People are assuming that like this shit Max Cassidy is doing on the timeline, where he's like bothering the marks on purpose. It means that like he's gonna turn on Bullet Club Gold and Jay White's gonna be the face. And no, don't do that. That sounds like dog shit. Do not do that.
yeah, do not do that. I don't know, man. I mean, if you're gonna subject me to Chris Jericho on my television, you could at least not rub my nose in it while making him a babyface as well.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, that was a good one. We've talked about
insane.
Deonna, right? Deonna needs to be a heel.
Yes.
Tony
Yeah,
should
she
probably
needs
be a
to turn heel. Now that they did
babyface.
the
Yes,
program.
100%.
Yeah, yeah.
I think they're gonna be like scared to like not scared, but like reluctant somewhat to turn Tony babyface because of like obviously they'll have to kind of adjust the Mariah May thing. You'd assume.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't know, maybe you could flip it though. You know, but obviously, like, we was hearing like in reports and I think just rumors back there that Tony Khan's got like a specific idea for this storyline. You know, with Mariah and Tony. So I don't know, man. I don't know, but ideally, right now, Tony still would not be a heel. It don't make
Yeah.
sense.
Other than that, I can't think of any that jump off the page necessarily. We've discussed the kind of weird Blackpool Combat Club dynamic for a long time, but like
Yeah.
at this point, I don't know what. I mean, I think Dragon's gonna be a babyface again. I think maybe. I don't know. So
I think
He's been humble.
that's what I thought too, Joe. But then like
Yeah.
he confronts Ospreay last night, but he's still like smiling, dragging. But I assume they would want him to be a heel in this feud.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't know. It's tough because like Dragon's trying to get all his matches in before he stops being full time, and it's just he's gonna have to like swing back and forth
Figure it
depending on the
out.
program, I guess, instead of having other people having to adjust to him, which it's awkward. But
Even though like Brian was the incoming babyface when he came into AEW and Kenny Omega was the heel champion at the time, that match basically was built on like who is the best wrestler in the world, you know. And Brian has built a few feuds off that in the past couple of years, so it's like just run that back again because everyone seems to buy it. Because at the end of the day, you get the match that you get, so it's like people are kind of patient with just letting Brian get that shit off because Brian is the best. Like Brian is the best.
Yeah.
So.
He's so great. He can navigate it better than like almost anyone, right? I think we've seen more issues when it's like a Claudio and Mox tag is when you kind of get a little bit of an issue of like what are the Blackpool Combat Club? But I guess hopefully we'll find out. I don't think we will, but hopefully like whatever they do in this presumed tag tournament, I think they'll be in it. Claudio and Mox, that is. Hopefully we find out kind of what their direction is long term, but we shall see.
We'll talk about it more obviously when the show when we get into the show. But how y'all feeling about this Swerve babyface change?
I thought last night was like a big night in that regard.
Yeah.
And it only really struck me on rewatch because, as Monty knows, when I watched it live, the way the segment was formatted kind of irked me because it was like, do I want to start a new era like this? It felt familiar in a kind of negative way. When I rewatched it, having Swerve like kind of concede how much of a piece of shit he's been, which they've done now 2 straight weeks, having him be such a direct babyface in terms of what his goal is and pointing to the champion, having a big monster for him to slay, like I thought this was a very positive week for Swerve as the top babyface. If Swerve and Will Ospreay are your top 2 babyfaces, that does feel fresh and exciting, right? That feels new. So I like it personally.
I completely agree.
Yeah, man. Yeah. It seems like they're achieving what they need to achieve with Swerve if they are doing this flip, so.
DN Mads, $5 super chat. Thank you. I cannot wait until Okada kicks that sweatpants wearing bum off my television screen and shows everyone what a real Triple Crown champ looks like. Well,
That's
you were talking to 3 huge Eddie Kingston fans. So, I'm just going to go ahead and say that's spiteful.
Joe's from Yonkers.
Joe is from Yonkers. Many people are saying this. I do think that Eddie should lose that match.
Oh, he will. Yeah. The only issue is, the only reason I could see that being a weird one is Okada holding the New Japan Strong Openweight title feels really weird, and I don't quite know. It feels like there might be some quirks to that politically, right? It feels like it may be. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I mean, he would do a lot for the Triple Crown's credibility. A lot for it.
He would.
Yeah.
Because as much as we all love Eddie Kingston and think that he might or should win the big one day, like once he won the Triple Crown, they were just like, all right, bro, go out there and wrestle in Helico.
Yeah.
And that was a real issue because if I had the pen, I would make it the World Championship of Collision, and they just didn't go in that direction. But if you put anything on Okada, you're gonna have to treat it seriously, whether he's wrestling on fucking the main event of Collision every week or just has like a big Dynamite match or whatever the fuck he has going on.
There's a prestige that comes with him, right? That's the reality of it. I'm intrigued as to, like, I wouldn't write that match. That could be a supercard. I'm not saying it will be. I don't know it will. But, like, WrestleMania weekend, man, like, I think Tony would like to have something pretty big up his sleeve. Last year he did Claudio and Eddie, Mark and Joe. I wouldn't be shocked if he did Eddie and Okada, but that would be a hell of a match, my God. Great contrast in styles. We'll talk about, obviously, that direction more, but yeah, it'd be very interesting.
Anjan, $2 super chat. We appreciate you. This $2 is worth more than what Broke Nose offers. We assume that's Terramana Tequila. Many people are saying this. Many people are like, Chance producing $2 super chat. Big Nose can't go band for band with TK. Many people, before we got on air, you know what Joe said to me? And this was word for word. He was like, yo, so Triple H is a broke ass nigga, huh? And I was like, exactly, Joe. You took the words right out of my mouth. Right out of my mouth. And,
I could see that coming from a mile away.
So, it's tough out here. Hush, $5 super chat. That Okada number is insane. Do you guys think that it's going to be the floor for AEW top stars? No. Maybe Drew Galloway is a real possibility. I still assume Drew resigns. But
it's interesting that the numbers out there though, like through Tokyo Sports Initiative and Sean being able to confirm it. It's like obviously a lot of people, it's just speculation, and a few people may know and stuff like that. Like Okada's $4.5 million per year. It's out there now. So if you're negotiating with AEW and you've drew fucking a dime for them, then you're gonna be like, yo, where's my $5 million? So because obviously with Okada, it's not like, I don't know, like you're getting a big name, especially like historically significant wrestler and stuff like that, a tremendous worker, etc. He's a high level talent and all that stuff, and he's already like a living legend. But obviously in the US, it's new territory for him. So for his first US major promotion that he signs for, to throw $4.5 million at him it's significant. It's significant, man.
While I don't see this being the floor, it's absolutely gonna, be a rising tide situation. This is gonna increase. Drew's looking at that number whether he goes to AEW or stays with WWE. Seth is up for a new deal. He's looking at that number, even though he's definitely gonna stay with WWE. Mercedes is probably signed around for that or a little bit higher. Who knows? But yeah, man, it's good for the wrestlers. Like, people get on. Like, even if this was people. You're going to think, some people are going to say, oh, of course, AEW's saying this is AEW. But even if it was WWE, bro, like, if Seth Rollins got $7 million, good for him, bro. Like, the wrestlers are disgustingly underpaid. Like,
absolutely.
No other sports league in the world pays their stars like this little, if you compare it to the revenue that they actually bring in. So, let them get their money, man. Let them get their money.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jan Theodore, $2 Canadian. New Japan needs an ace, and Jack Perry arrived in time. I think I'm the only Jack Perry fan up here.
No, I like Jack. I like
okay,
Jack. I honestly do. Yeah.
Yeah, I like Jack. Is he gonna be the ace of any company? I don't see that. But
No.
New Japan did not. They didn't do him a favor with his start. I heard the match with Shooter was decent until the house and cock and balls torture.
I hate it for Jack, dude. Like, if he could have gone and had just really strong pro wrestling matches, I think it would have helped his perception a lot. But now these matches are going to be filled with like bullshit, and it's a shame, man. I don't know. I think this is going to be.
The War Dogs are right there, bro. The War Dogs were right there. You want to put them in a heel faction. But,
I don't think this is going to help him in terms of like, the way he's perceived. And I don't even mean that as a reflection of him. It's just brutal creative to me personally. I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully it works out. I think he's a talented worker, man. Like, as a babyface, that dude's track record was very impressive. Very impressive. So
it was. Hush, $2 super chat. Is there anyone from the Fed Tony is super high on? He loves Becky.
CM Punk.
Yeah, Becky, CM Punk.
I'm sure there's quite a few. Kevin Owens.
There's a few, bro.
He probably loves KO.
Sammy.
He likes the same wrestlers that most fans on Twitter and stuff like, the good workers. Like, he's not oblivious, like, yeah, man. I'm sure if he had the opportunity to sign these people, if they become free agents, he definitely will. I think he'll be looking at a few free agents coming up this year if they don't already get locked down by WWE, you know what I mean? When the contracts come up, like a Drew McIntyre, for example.
Yeah.
Even though come on, I'm sure he's pretty much probably already agreed personal terms and just hasn't put pen to paper, judging off what we're seeing on TV and stuff, But, yeah, man, I think
sure
2024 is going to be very interesting.
I'm sure AJ Styles saw 4.5 million and got straight on the treadmill. Got one more left in me. Started looking in the mirror. I fucking still got it. What do you?
They're just gonna put those working boots back on. The leader of Monty Nation, Caden Lee, $2 super chat. I really like Mikey's new Dynamite theme. I need to sit and like actually listen to it because I was listening to it while doing the watch along, and I liked what I heard, but I couldn't really.
Can I be honest?
What's up?
Something?
You're gonna be honest, regardless.
How you feeling about
it? True. I fucking hated like the feuds, man.
Oh, you hated like the
feuds? Yeah,
I hated that. I think this is so much better, bro. It sounds like a natural.
Personally, I didn't love it, but it was just like, oh, this is the Dynamite theme. So, I appreciated it. I appreciated the tagline, like the fuse and shit. But like that song, I didn't really feel that either.
As a wrestling theme, this one sounds a lot better to me. I didn't listen to it a bunch, but it sounded a lot more. We'll just talk about this here now because we're not really. It's the first one on the show. It's just, to Caden's credits in the super chat. Like, I thought it came off really well, the new intro video.
Yeah.
It is.
I love the video. I loved the video.
Yeah. I loved the set. I could do without a little bit of the barricade lighting and stuff. Like, it's a little much for me. But I love the set. I think the set looks awesome. So
yeah,
I don't know. Hey, what did you make of the kind of new packaging of Dynamite?
Loved all of it, bro. When the original logo dropped, I tweeted on the Imperials page. I was like, I don't know how I feel about this because I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. It was just kind of there. But when you put it together with like everything else, it looks awesome with the actual colors, with the actual graphic design in the background and stuff. The match cards, all of that looks amazing. I love all of it. I hated the red and blue match cards. I didn't really care about the logo too much, but the match cards looked disgusting. Where like the one half was just red, the other half was blue. The new stage, the new tunnels, it all looks great. I didn't really notice barricade lights. I'm gonna have to go back and look.
Just a little much for me. Like it was just a little much, but I still was positive on it overall. You didn't like it very much, that part, right, Monty?
I actually like I like the intro music. Like I was just saying just now. Yeah. It sounds a lot more like an actual wrestling intro song, even if it is like quite generic in that sense. But it just sounds more like a wrestling intro song that you're more used to hearing. But it's still obviously unique to AEW in that sense. The stage, the tunnel, the new tunnels, and the stage looks good. But yeah, I think as soon as you get to the rings, the white ropes, but like the barricades and all that, it's too much, bro. It's way too, bro. I actually kind of hated it, but
you did, yeah.
It's the games we play,
Yeah, I get it. I mean, it's one of those, that's even more subjective from the wrestling. I find that stuff, right? So it is what it is.
Because then there's some people like the younger crowd, like Ebu will tweet, "Oh, death to all LEDs. I hate LEDs in wrestling." And then like a bunch of 19-year-olds will be like, "Die, Grandpa! More LEDs!" And it'll be from like both sides, like AEW fans and WWE fans. So like it's all subjective. I personally, bro, just make it look cool. Like just one huge LED screen. I don't really like that. Like make it have some personality, but LEDs in general don't really bother me.
This barricade, it's just so bright, bro. It's like almost like NXT 2.0-ish. Like it just has like a visual, like the way it strikes you, like the color scheme and stuff. When you're looking at the ring specifically, like I said, I think the stage and the tunnels and stuff look great. But yeah, it's just I don't know. There's got to be another way you can incorporate like that color scheme without like it's like punching you in the face the way that it does. Like maybe I don't know, like black barricades, but like the logo in the middle of it instead of like the logo being like the whole thing with all like the fucking bright colours and so I don't know, maybe they love it at AEW, do you know what I mean? And probably do, hence why they put it out there last night. So, you know, and it's as you was just saying, very subjective. So there you have it.
GN £2. We appreciate you. Can you each pick a unique dream match for Nemeth? I respect Nemeth as a worker, but I wasn't really watching wrestling when he was in his prime, so I don't really have any type of attachment to him at all. I guess Will Ospreay, because it's fun to see what Ospreay could get out of people.
Yeah, I think that would be fun because how explosive he is, you think would like. I mean, my issue. I'm a fan of Nick Nemeth, but like I think, as I've said before, I think his offense is an issue at this point in his career, and Will Ospreay would kind of remedy that by bumping violently for all of it and kind of doing all these crazy things. So yeah, I think that's a good one. A unique dream match.
The way Ospreay would like spike himself, taking a zigzag, like he just took a poison round, and would be fucking hilarious.
I think, what wrestlers do I like, AO? Is there anyone you?
Listen,
are you down for to see Dax and Nick Nemeth throw that ball around, Joe? Is that something you want to see?
Good answer. Yeah, well, give me some of that on Collision at like 8:30 Eastern. You know, the courtyard
Collision
dips.
main event for the
we can do that.
IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah.
That's some Homer promotion shit right there.
Ryan has a good answer too, because I know this one was like one that they kind of missed each other. I think they worked a couple times, but I remember Christian Cage talking about how like he was kind of bummed he didn't get to work a program.
Oh, that would be
Dolph. That'd be cool because like he's so smart, right? He'd figure out a cool match for them. So yeah, there's a couple for you. What do you reckon?
Let's run back. Yeah. WWE bragging rights 2010.
Good answer. Yeah.
Bryan Danielson.
That would actually be a great Collision main event. Like genuinely, that'd be a novelty to that, right? Seeing them wrestle match.
Danielson, like reportedly, like really high on Nemeth too. Like he loves the guy, legend.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
everyone likes him as well. Like,
yeah.
So he's like a good locker room addition and all those.
Yeah, I think he is like most guys that go to TNA. You know, like we know the deal, right? Is what it is. But like, I think in his case, I think he actually wanted to try and be like a player somewhere, and I think he's smart enough to realize, as we mentioned before, like you said a couple weeks ago, in AEW he'd have just been in the exact same role on a different channel, basically.
Yeah,
it's TNA. He has a chance to be the guy. I'm not sure how long that project will last because clearly things are changing over there. So we'll see. But I'd like to see him do like a one-off in AEW just because I think it would be cool for sure. But yeah.
All right. I'm Purist's own. Good job, Marcus. $2 super chat. Appreciate you, my brother. Big money Kazu home. And that's a fact. It would have been so disgusting to see him in WWE, bro. Monty's depressed over it. He wanted him to stand for so bad. Just so bad.
Pose, man.
Just so bad.
Whatever the fuck he does, that thing.
You want to join the winning team. It's too late. Stay on that side, bro. Stay on that side. Another member of Monty Nation suggested $5 super chat. If Okada is worth $4.5 million, what is Orange Cassidy worth? Bro's legit ratings and merch draw. I don't know.
See, these are the guys that like if the wage structure is like rising and the tide is rising, like we're hoping with these new contracts coming up in 2024 and stuff, then someone like Orange Cassidy, he needs to get on the phone to Barry Bloom, bro. That's what he needs to be doing.
Like, what does Orange Cassidy in WWE look like? That feels like a really. I don't know what the interest would be there because we know they
wouldn't-
wanted
They
Okada.
wouldn't get him,
right?
bro. They wouldn't get
Yeah.
Orange Cassidy.
Do you think
And I
they'd
feel
like
it would
pursue
get
him
Vince
heavily?
McMahon-ish real quick. You know,
Do you
Vince
think
ain't
they'd?
around no more.
Do you think they'd chase him though, just for like it would be obviously a big
Oh
perception?
yeah.
So yeah,
Bro,
he should. Yeah,
Joe,
absolutely.
they let Sean Spears keep his name. Like they definitely go after
True.
Orange Cassidy.
You're
they
right.
let Sean Spears keep his name.
You get what I mean, though, right? Like it feels so like I don't know. I can't piece that one together. But yeah, I mean, you're absolutely. There's a good point, and that's the beauty of. I think all of us are in the same boat of that. Like it's good because the floor should go up for the top guys. And what you say is true. I mean, he's a huge deal for them. How many times have they turned to Orange on TV to give them a strong 20 minutes that will hold up in the ratings, you know? Merchandise, as you mentioned. Yeah, so, no, it's a great point. Hopefully he gets paid. I think it goes without saying he's earned it over this last couple of years especially. So, it's a good call.
Love OC. He needs to, I think he needs to get written off for a little bit right now, though. CM, $2 super chat. Knows he's going to pay Seth money. I feel like Seth is like one of the guys that's actually going to get taken care of. Endeavor's famously cheap, but they know they have to play ball with their top-ish guys.
So like you mentioned earlier as well, it's like WWE wrestlers and wrestlers in general get paid such a low percentage of revenue. So like, you know, I'm sure there's quite a lot of room. So I don't think, you know, they're not gonna. Obviously, WWE value Seth Rollins very, very, very highly. He's one of their like go-to top guys. You know, they put him in the main event of WrestleMania Night 1 with Dwayne. You know, so you know, he probably will and should get this monopoly money. You know, even you know, he's not who I would sign as more like round one draft pick or anything like that. But you know, it is what it is. You know.
Yeah, we need to do one of those drafts, man. We need to schedule it at some point. We need it.
Ben Dixon, $2 Australian. Thank you. Tana needs to disappear ghetto like Monty did Manny. Look, this might surprise you, but there's no bigger fan of the Hooper in the office than the boss himself, bro.
Manny the Hooper. It's just schedule conflicts, man. You know?
I'm imagining like Manny's shoot interview where he says like, "Monty loved me.
Monty loved me. That fucking Holbert, man.
the boys got me kicked out, you know."
And also, Ben. Also, please remember that Manny literally stopped watching wrestling for like
that was
2-3 months.
Bro, you know how much Monty loves Manny. Manny stopped watching wrestling, and Monty still let him like rate matches on the Match Guide. And mind you, it's not like everybody in WrestlePurists has a vote. It's like 10 of us, bro. And for some reason, Manny had one.
Because he would watch like one match a week, bro. So I'd let him rate it, you know. Like,
bro, he was getting bits off of the ratings and stuff. It was terrible. Me and Monty fighting over here, but Charlie has joined us.
Jesus Christ! Hello, I'm here.
Yo.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm back home for the weekend now. I'm not leaving my house again. My God, it's been a busy week.
Put your feet up.
Yeah.
Have a cup of tea.
Yeah, just relax for a bit. I need to tweet that I'm here.
$5 super chat. What is up with New Japan's love of Evil's faction? All I hear is people hate them. Well, you know, if Siren is to be believed, some random obscure fan poll in Japan has them as the 4th most popular faction in Japan. So apparently Japanese people love them. I don't know why that's supposed to be my problem or why I have to be subjected to this because of that, but you know, apparently that's how this works. Shit slow. Hush, $2 super chat. How would y'all feel if Brock went back to New Japan Pro Wrestling? I wouldn't like it. That's not
happening either.
Yeah,
it's not happening.
Yeah, I know it's like a hypothetical, but it's just that money ain't there right now. Right? He's not flying to Japan for that. Like, you know, and let me be clear. I say it's the money because I know for a fact they would have no issues with the morality part of it.
Oh, so yeah. They bring him in. They absolutely bring him in.
They absolutely would. But
Chase Owens got worse allegations than that. He's a champion over there with not even 1/1000th of the talent. So
Yeah, it would be.
That's super
It would not be surprising beyond the money part, which says a lot about wrestling, sadly.
Bully $5 super chat. Paying $4.5 million a year for a 36-year-old Okada is crazy. $50 million for a young proxys like Lexis King is a far better investment.
$50 million.
I love how nobody in our super chats ever knows how to spell Lexis King right.
Yeah, I thought that was right, which is even funnier. So yeah,
what a shit, bro.
This is targeted money. How do you feel about this being a super chat?
How do you feel about this? How do you feel about the Tom Bully?
Feel personal.
I'd rather not talk about
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. This is a wrestling podcast, I suppose.
Hush, another $2. Thank you. Stage is good, but the tunnels look like condoms. Hush, maybe
what condoms do you be wearing, bro?
You're just a pervert, bro. Now Chuck is engaging in digital blackface. That's assumed my identity over there. Like, what's going on here, bro? Yeah, I don't know if y'all ever see Gen V, but Tech Knight he has a disorder where he sees a hole, he just has to fuck it. Maybe that's what Hush got going on. And $2 super chat. Just dropped a new edit. Check it out. #Mahalo. Go check out Anjan's work. He does good work at Elite Merchant.
Yeah. Yeah, he had a great Photoshop of me as Dwayne. And like tiny head on top of Dwayne's body. It was very good. So that was very generous. That super chat round. Monty comes around and everyone starts throwing their money in the air.
Where were y'all last week when we needed y'all, bro?
They said the boss is getting paid this week. Let's fucking go. Emptying their wallets on the desk. All right, we appreciate it, folks. Please do keep them coming. As I said earlier, like, subscribe, and all those good things. All right, with all that established, I think it would probably make sense to review the Dynamite at this point. Right? That'd probably be the best natural. Let's do it. Swerve Strickland kick things off. Tony Schiavone brought him out for an in-ring interview, and as we kind of alluded to earlier and kind of briefly touched upon, Swerve kind of questioned whether or not it was, like this. It was karma for all the things he'd done wrong and all the heel acts he'd kind of, taken upon over that road to the gold. And the people had a great reaction to that, right? When he was saying, like, maybe I don't deserve it, and the people were willing him on. It was good stuff. Samoa Joe came out, and at this point, like, you made note in your head, Swerve had his gear on. When Joe came out, it was like, okay, something's up, because the big man ain't coming out in his gear for no good reason, right? And by the way, it's worth knowing that Joe's knees were taped, like it was he was hanging on for dear life. So, for a second, I wanted to ask you guys this before we go any further. Like, I, for a moment, wondered they're about to do the most insane thing and just do a title switch. Like my brain actually went down this path. Am I the only one here when I saw them?
No, I wouldn't.
I thought a tag was coming.
Okay. Okay. All right, fair. So
I was with
that
you,
was,
Joe,
of course.
Yeah.
Thanks, mate. I appreciate it. I'm glad you're here now. So Joe and Swerve had this great face-to-face. And then the segment took a slight shift, I think it's fair to say, as the Undisputed Kingdom came out. I have to say that we got to do something about that theme. We got to do something. I was talking to Montgomery about we have to do something about the theme. It's very unfortunate. And then I thought the segment kind of lost its edge, and Cole was doing some stuff from the wheelchair, and it felt very cookie cutter. It wasn't the ideal start to New Year, I think, as an overall segment. It ultimately set up the Kingdom versus Joe and Swerve, which we'll talk about separately in a minute. But first, the segment itself, I'll start with our special guest, Montgomery. What did you think of the opening promo segment, mate?
I'm sure this probably been said and will get said a lot, but it was very WWE,
Yeah.
Which doesn't always necessarily mean bad. And I think I'm pretty much with you, Joe, in the sense of that, like, to start off with, I was kind of with it, man. Like, especially like the Swerve section at the start when he's kind of, he's doubting himself and he's kind of, questioning karma and all these things. And he makes his mission statement still. The mission is still clear. He wants Samoa Joe and the world title. And I'm with it then. Then Samoa Joe comes out, I start to get fired up. He's in gear, the towel's around his neck, I'm fucking ready, let's go. He's posing with the belt, he's doing all this and he's just dangling it in his face, man. Like, he's still the champ, rubbing it in. And I was with it, and then obviously the Kingdom music hits, and it's just kind of like, okay, Wardlow is obviously going to come out because he's the number one contender, and I wonder where this is going to play into. And, you just kind of get Cole doing shtick in his wheelchair, and kind of, as you said, Joe, it kind of just he kind of lost me there. You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Swerve transitioning pretty smoothly into this babyface run because it's organic. Do you know what I mean? It's organic. The fans want to cheer him. The fans basically want him to be a babyface despite these disgusting things that he's done. But he isn't just ignoring it. He's showing regret and these sort of things for it. So
I think that's necessary.
It had good and bad. The segment did, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think I know that some felt differently and were hesitant on a Swerve babyface turn, but I actually think it's important that he kind of, I owned up's the wrong word, but he kind of accepted that he'd been a dick, and he's like a character who's in conflict. I think it's compelling personally. Charlie, what did you make of the opening promo segment?
I love the parts with Joe and Swerve. I thought that was fucking incredible. It's just kind of undeniable how much the crowd is behind Swerve at this point because he was getting Samoa Joe booed, and that's been quite difficult to do in the last 8 months of his AEW run. The people love Joe, and especially as champion as well. So the fact that they were actively being no, we are cheering Swerve right now was kind of crazy, to be honest, because it's not even been that imbalanced throughout the feud. They were all just kind of cheering for Swerve and Joe and booing Hangman, but now Hangman's out of the picture for however long. They've chosen their babyface, so I think they're doing the turn really well. The stuff with Adam Cole's really unfortunate. I didn't need to hear story time with Adam Cole, baby. I really didn't. I would have just preferred for Wardlow to come out. But yeah, they handled it how they handled it. I was very scared about the tag match. I was like, oh no, the Ring of Honor tag titles are back in the world title scene. And then I sent that to a group chat, and AO was just like, no, the titles aren't on the line. I was like, thank God. But yeah, overall, pretty decent.
Vietnam flashbacks.
I was terrified.
What they did was kind of funnier in some ways, right? It was just oh, they're the champs. Who gives a fuck? I mean, it was interesting. What did you make of the segment, mate?
I liked it a lot up until the Undisputed Kingdom came out. It's unfortunate. This is the stain I got for Undisputed Kingdom because I'm a fan of the four. I'm a fan of the Kingdom. I'm a fan of Roddy. I'm a fan of Cole. Wardlow is also employed by All Elite Wrestling. This whole Cole wheelchair thing, our friend Ibu, he thinks that it's a bit to get heat, but I don't think so, bro. I think he really needs that wheelchair. He was coming out on crutches, and then it was taking him too long to get down the ramp. So they're just all right, we're just gonna wheel this motherfucker around. I think he needs to be off TV until he can at least walk again. I'm not liking the content the Undisputed Kingdom is putting out there right now. When their music hits, my fucking skin crawls, bro. They need to go back. They need to go to something for you. I don't know why they ever changed from that. Why it needed. They had something for you. Then they got the Ruckus remix. And now they have this. Yeah. But
the worst is when Roddy comes out to it for his singles matches. It's good
God, bro. We want to hear End of Heartache. Why are we hearing the fucking stable music?
Yeah.
Oh my God. We had End of Heartache for 5 matches, bro. He wasn't even wrestling when he had singles thing. But I didn't want Swerve to turn babyface, but there was a real issue of fucking over the other baby faces, putting them across the ring from him because no matter what he did, bro, he got the crowd to turn on Hangman, Hangman Page, bro. So who stands a chance really playing babyface Danielson and who else? It wasn't looking good. I think it's being handled as well as it could be. I loved his promo last night where he owned up to it. He's not going to be a generic babyface. Him and Joe do jabs back and forth. It was great shit. And then, like I said, the Undisputed Kingdom came out, and then you just see the drop off in star power, bro. And you have Swerve and Joe standing in the ring, and then it was just we're supposed to look at Wardlow like he's a potential next world champion. We're supposed to look at Cole like he's the leader of the top heel faction in AEW. I don't buy either of those at all. But yeah, man, it had its ups and its downs, but I really liked it until Undisputed Kingdom came out.
Yeah, I think we're all on the same page in that regard. The match itself wasn't actually expansive, man. What happened?
I'll just put it on screen.
Oh yeah, this was great. I can't read this. I want someone's a Big Lebowski, Cole. Wardlow is just like, quote, I've never been more sure of anything in my life. This guy can walk, and drops him down some stairs. So yeah, that's a clay. Anyone who's not seen Lebowski, that is very effective. Very, very good. God, there's some incredible. Having Eddie Kingston would do that would be the real play. But anyway, nonetheless, if you're gonna do it right, right? Like, you know, the match itself, like the match wasn't particularly. It was like 6 minutes change. It wasn't like a great professional wrestling match.
Yeah.
It was very simple, right? Joe took a shine. They beat Joe up some. Swerve made a comeback. But in terms of what we were talking about, like trying to achieve cementing Swerve as the top babyface, this match did.
This match.
Yeah,
great job.
It was
very effective.
I mean, credit to the Kingdom. Like, I thought they did a really good job of like they fed that comeback beautifully. Like, and because Swerve's always smooth, but sometimes with guys he hasn't worked with before, you can see they're figuring out his style because he has some very like innovative offense. Here, everything looked perfect, landed exactly as you intended, it flowed beautifully, and Swerve just kicked their ass basically single-handedly, right? Like he hit his finish on both of them and then pinned Taven, I believe, center ring, and it was one of those deals of like, it won't go on your spreadsheet or it won't be a star rating hit, but that was good TV in terms of telling the people this guy's worth cheering. He's an ass kicker. So I thought this was good TV in that regard. Chuck, what did you make of the actual tag match?
Yeah, I pretty much agree. I thought they did a really good job of telling the story of like Joe was getting beat down by the Kingdom, and then Swerve came in and just kind of handled business. It was very effective in that regard. It was just kind of a match. I was like I said, I was just scared for half of it that the titles were on the line. So, but no, I thought it was pretty effective at furthering the story with Swerve and Joe. I'm very excited for when we eventually get that singles match. Yeah,
me too. I should mention like post match they did the deal where Joe choked Swerve out, and it must be said. I don't know how you feel about this, AO, but like you've always been a big proponent of Swerve, and you've always thought he was going to climb to the top. Who could have seen this particular scenario coming, though, right? He's chasing Samoa Joe for the AEW World title, and it's like, I had a moment last night. I was like, I didn't ever think they'd get here, but I'm glad
crazy.
They have.
It's crazy because, like I was talking to a couple of the other guys last night, and it looks like for like the first couple of months on the roster, Joe was just going to be a guy on the roster, happy to carry around the ROH TV title. Maybe not have the best matches, but it's Joe. We all love Joe. We're going to pop. We're going to chant Joe when he walks to the ring. And then, like, he had those matches with Darby. And, like, something just, like, switched in Joe's head and Tony's head. Like, he just kept climbing up and up the card. Like, became TNT champion. Now he's the AEW World Champion, bro. He's having bangers. He's looking like the fucking Samoa Joe of old and shit. And, which is getting treated like a huge star in AEW. It's awesome, bro. I never saw this coming. When he signed, I just thought he was just gonna be a guy on the roster. And now he's literally he's the heel champ that the new top face is chasing, and it's Swerve, bro. This is crazy.
I'm pretty hopeful about this match. I mean, I think it's fair to lock it in for Dynasty. I think it's fair. Yeah. I think that's pretty clearly where we're going. Monty, where do you stand on that as a world title match? I know you can be a little more picky. Right, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with being picky. What do you make of Swerve and Joe as a pay-per-view world style match? What do you think?
Feels natural, really, especially if you got a pay-per-view coming up in 5 weeks? Got a pay-per-view coming up in 5 weeks. It's like that's just naturally where you'd go to, isn't it? Obviously you've got Wardlow who won the Scramble match, and it's like when you say those two potential contenders to me, Swerve and Wardlow, it's like I know which one I'd put on the pay-per-view and I know which one I'd get out of the way on TV. And that seems to be the way that they're going. So, you've kind of employed it quite a few times, Joe. But like Swerve being the first person out, especially with this new era of Dynamite, the tunnels about the new intro, the new theme, all this stuff. And I think it was like blatant signaling from AEW for Swerve to be the first person to walk out there and look as good as he did, like you said, Joe, and be a babyface that just kind of kicks ass. Definite signaling, successful signaling by AEW in this first segment, I thought.
Yeah, I think it's one of those cases, and we've talked about this a lot in recent weeks, about kind of, while I didn't necessarily immediately love the method in terms of the way this was laid out, I think it's like another case of we see where they're going, and that's very much appreciated, right? It feels like they know exactly where they're trending right now and where they're headed with their creative, and I think that shows. So a positive night for sure for Swerve Strickland. And hopefully by the time Dynasty rolls around, there'll be some big fight feel for that match. I think that's within reach here because I think the people are going to know it may happen tonight. And really,
Yeah.
it should happen tonight, right? Which always gives you a special atmosphere. So we'll see how the build develops from here. Of course, next week, Samoa Joe and Wardlow, we will cross that bridge next Thursday. We'll see how it goes, folks. We're hoping for the best. All right. Meanwhile, in Gotham, Hook was backstage, and I was watching this on the Late Night Grin Discord with the lads, and someone said, I think it was my friend Joe on there, he said, not Samoa Joe, folks, he was AEW Dynamite, but Joe in the Late Night Grin Discord, he said, are they going to let Hook do something now? And I looked up from my phone, and there was Chris Jericho walking into the scene. I said, oh yeah, he's going to be doing something, brother, lock in. He's going to be doing something. So yeah, as soon as you saw this, you knew this was going to be like the thing that was going to define Hook's career for the next couple months. Indeed, that was to be the case. I just want everyone's instinctual reaction. Monty, what was your reaction when Chris Jericho appeared on the screen opposite Hook? What was your thoughts?
Oh, brother, not again.
A sigh, yeah.
Yeah. What can I say, man? I don't even live tweet Jericho segments and stuff because it's just like I do kind of fall into the trap of like not like, even though obviously I know the WrestlePurists account, you kind of just like what's the word I'm looking for? You know, unbiased, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, content page.
Yeah, it's just whatever.
Yeah.
Like, when I'm not into a segment, I struggle to just live tweet it because it's like I don't see anything significant that happens. It's like I can't remember last time I tweeted about Jericho. I'm not trying to see him I'm not trying to see him right now. I think even I don't know. It's hard to look outside of the perception change that there has been since the end of last year due to the Twitter thread, which I'm sure everybody knows I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Even outside of that, it's just like Jericho exhaustion's a real thing, bro. Like Jericho exhaustion's a real thing. He's in the past kind of like year or two. It's like he's always kind of, I don't know, man. It's like his temperature checks with his babyface and heel runs have been like all over the place, you know. And obviously, right now he's a babyface making saves for the young Hook. Like we don't need this, man. Nobody needs this. It's it's I don't know, man. It is what it is. You know, you just kind of got to concede. Like Jericho's gonna get his shit off, bro. Like it just is what it is.
Yeah. Chuck, did you have a visceral reaction to this? Did you yell
I
something?
quite literally recoiled from my laptop and I was taking notes because I was watching Dynamite at like 7 o'clock this morning and my notes on this were just no. But I was very upset about the fact that Jericho is involving himself in Hook's business. I don't want to see this. I wanted Jericho to go away and he just keeps worming his way onto TV and here we are, I guess. I guess we'll see what happens. I'm really scared.
Yeah. What's the best case scenario here?
I don't know, but I don't want to watch this shit. I like Hook. I think he's a good young talent. I'm not like super invested in Hook. But it's just like Hook and Jericho content for the next 2 months. That sounds terrible, bro.
It sounds really bad, yeah.
He's making a save against the Mogul Embassy, like. So like, what are we seeing here? Like, we're gonna see Mogul Embassy tags, and then like, is this gonna somehow transition into a Swerve Jericho feud when Swerve's world champion? Like, this is like this is all around bad, bro. Like, are we headed towards a Hook and Jericho like long-term tag team? Are we headed towards a Hook and Jericho match? Nobody wants to see any of this. And that was a double whammy with Chris Jericho this week because he's involved himself with one of my favorite luchadors, Titan from CMLL, and
that was crazy.
LIJ. It's just like, bro, I was talking to Ebro. There's literally 30 people on the roster. I'd rather see Titan wrestle than Jericho, bro. Like, this is not how you showcase a great young talent. He's like 33, but that's relative. He's a great young talent, bro. He's a really good wrestler. I suggest you guys go check him out. Best of Super Junior finals. Finals with Master Wado. Great match. He has a bunch of good matches with he's matches with Ospreay. He has matches with Roman with. Great worker, bro. Great worker. I don't think his match with Jericho this Saturday is gonna do him justice. But
no. It's an insane stylistic matchup again. Right? Like more of the same in that regard. I have no clue. He must feel better about it than the rest of us watching. So I don't know. It's a weird one. When that graphic showed up, I was
asking for these
stunned.
matches?
They might be because he does have a lot of like worldwide cred, right? He does, but it's got to be a better way. Good lord. Even if they did like all-star tags where Chris was in them, but he wasn't. The guys have to slow down. In that case, I don't even mean it as a knock on Chris. He's 51. Like, there's no reason for wrestling. Anyway, I think this next segment may have been the best like comedy bit that Matthew and Nicholas have done yet, as they did. They did a parody of Tony Khan's major announcement with behavior. This was like absolutely tremendous, and the announcement in the end was like, "We'll announce the announcements later this evening." Was basically what they said. But the actual content here was very much the smiles, the thanks guys, back to the ring. It was that stuff. This was Charlie. This felt like something that you'd have popped for very much. I certainly did. What did you make of this little segment here?
It was popping me so much. It took me a second to realize that they were parodying Tony Khan, but once I put it together, they're so fucking funny. You can tell they're having so much fun with like this new version of like the heel characters they're doing, and they just had a really good Dynamite overall, to be honest. But this segment in particular, it made me laugh so much.
Yeah, another hit, right, for this new gimmick, and it's fair to say.
As soon as I saw them holding the microphone like they were choking it, and like just like that awkward ass smile to the camera, I was like, oh yeah, they're trying to be TK. I love this segment. They have gimmick of the year for me so far. Between that and Drew McIntyre trying to get CM Punk to get himself fired, it's there's some real good work going on right now in the wrestling business. Oh yeah, I loved it. It was great.
It's interesting. Monty, what do you reckon? What's gimmick of the year so far here in March? What do you reckon? I know you do a weekly ballot to make sure you're locked in when the end of the year comes around. So what you got currently? I think Drew McIntyre will probably win it. If it was done today here in March, I think Drew would take it.
You're all wrong.
What is it?
You're all
Dwayne.
So wrong.
Dwayne.
It's
the reason we're all here.
I didn't even think of Hollywood. Oh, right. Yeah, he's gonna win it.
That's fair.
He's locked in.
Well, we'll see what happens when he has to wrestle. God bless him. We'll hope for the best.
You don't need to wrestle.
That's what he'll say after he has a match.
Oh, fucking God. What was I thinking?
He's gonna get back through there and go, you know what? I can manage. I can stay at ringside. I'm cool with that. We'll see how things develop. All right. I think we have a couple super chats lined up, mate. Take it away.
The homie Chi-Town Spurs, $5 super chat. Jamie Collin, New Japan, post Fergie Man United is hilariously accurate. This is spiteful, bro. Like, why are we doing this? The jokes were funnier when they were about Chelsea, honestly.
Post Roman Abramovich Chelsea.
Will Shields and $2 super chat. Okada getting that Oberfemi bag now. Shout out Oberfemi, man. Shout out Oberfemi. Will Shields with another $20 super chat. We appreciate you, bro. I'm not trying to be funny, but I understand why they kept Britt on TV when she hurt her knee, because most of her promos was good, and that's how she got over. Most of the time, Adam not even talking on the mic. I was kind of tired of Britt by the end of it.
That's fair, but it was a different AEW too, right? Like, much smaller talent roster. They were at dailies.
He's talking about she was in the wheelchair. Okay.
Yeah. Well, when she was doing stuff with Shivani, I think is what Will's referencing.
She did like the role model thing. Yeah. Okay.
I just think the whole vibe was different at dailies. Yeah. Like, I think if you did that exact thing now with even Britt, it would still would be sitting we could be watching a Roddy Strong match or whatever right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's odd. I don't know.
Yeah, we were getting Jimmy Havoc matches back then, bro. Joey Janela was on TV.
Yeah, it's very.
The Hybrid 2 was a featured tag team. It's not the same AEW.
Yeah, and it's also that the Cole promos, it's not happening in a vacuum, right? It's followed the devil angle.
Right.
And it's there's a Wardlow there's just a lot of moving pieces, I think, that make us kind of roll our eyes, unfortunately.
Yeah. Chi-Town Spurs with another $5 super chat. Spin Zone. If Hook somehow survives the next 6 months of this, he's the messiah of pro wrestling. 6 months is crazy. But
I should go
hey, man, it's Jericho. Sapito, $2 super chat. What's the worst wrestler Ospreay can have a 4-star match with? Well, he had one with 2023 Kenta.
I was about to
so
say something.
the list is
I know
long.
Who was the guy he
Monty was
actually
absolutely about to say Adam Cole just now.
No,
I know he was.
it's
You
No,
were?
I know exactly what he was going to say. I know exactly what he was going
Let
to
me
say.
see. Oh my God.
I knew that's where you were going.
Come on.
Oh dear. Sorry guys, popping ourselves in
was-
the private chat.
Was it Tangaloa that he actually couldn't have a great match within the G1?
Oh,
Wasn't
yeah,
that the
it's
one
not-
match?
Yeah.
Okay, so that gives us an
4
idea.
stars out of
right?
Tangaloa would have been like in.
Right.
Look, I know he's achieved some crazy feats with that sort of stuff, but Tangaloa, you know,
That was it. Just it gives us an idea of the range, right? Like Kenta, still possible. Tangaloa, not possible. It just gives us a gauge.
So what's in the middle of Kenta and Tangaloa right now?
Just have a quick look at the chat. Someone said Seth
Yeah, let's
Rollins.
see what the chat. The chat
Seth
said.
Rollins.
Matt Hardy, QT.
Oh,
I don't think he would break a
Matt
sweat
Hardy-
having a 4-star with QT. Honestly,
I don't either. QT's like actual work is good.
yeah, he can wrestle. It's just that we don't want to see him. Nobody wants to fucking see QT Marshall.
Okay, what do you?
Ricky,
The Matt
Ricky
Hardy
Starks.
one. The Matt Hardy one is
Push
That's a
it.
good shout.
hilarious because like
I think
Matt could play like old gunslinger, you know, like and they do like
Yeah.
knockout spots and shit. I don't know. I think maybe
It might be Matt Hardy, bro. It might be
Someone
Matt
said
Hardy.
Dwayne.
Twain.
Dwayne
I'm trying to
versus
think
Will
of like some of
Ospreay
the
would be.
green.
Dwayne
wrestlers.
Basin.
Oh my God.
Do you think you could have a 4-star match with like Griff Garrison?
I feel like I've never.
I haven't
feel
watched Griff Garrison wrestle a
Yeah.
match in about
I think
3
The young,
years.
the Young Bucks had a
He wrestled
4-star
Adam
match.
Copeland on Collision.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Young Bucks had a 4-star match with Griff Garrison and Lexus King.
Coleman. Yeah.
So Ospreay could definitely do it singles.
The way that he plugs guys into his match, it's like
Yeah.
because his offense is so good, you really have to be pretty bad to mess it up, right? Like
Yeah.
actively bad, as we've seen without citing evidence. Nonetheless, is that all of our super chats? I was going to move on.
Yes.
There we okay. All good, folks. Keep them coming. Again, if you haven't already, please the thumbs up and the subscription, all that good stuff. All right.
Mhm.
FTW Championship, the aforementioned Hook, defending this belt I believe he's had for around a decade now against Brian Cage, who I think's been wrestling for the belt for around a decade now. And they had a plunder match. And like, I'm being silly and being spiteful, but Brian Cage, for all his faults, and there certainly are faults, you never have to question his effort, do you, Big Brian? He says he's going to hit his moves regardless. He's going to get his shit in, as he would say. And he certainly did that here. But this was one of those matches that it ended and I was kind of like, I think it was good. Maybe. Was it good? I don't know. You guys tell me, Monty, was this match good?
I did not think this match was good, Joe Hall.
You didn't? Okay. Good. That's the way I'm going to ask all three of you that question.
just kind of
you
like-
go first. Go for it.
It kind of like Brian Cage does put his effort in, and that's definitely
He
not what
does.
was wrong with this match. But at the same time, the match did kind of plod along in the sense of like it was just plodding along plunder. And there was a moment, I think it was through an ad break, which kind of always throws me off when I'm watching on Fight because like sometimes I miss when they say it, you know, like
Yeah.
so I'm just watching this match just die down. Like Brian Cage at one point took a stroll around the ring about 3 times, and
Beast.
you know, and he was looking for weapons and stuff, and you know, it was just
He
it
did
wasn't like
tax,
offensive.
though,
It wasn't
right?
offensively bad or anything, or
Yeah.
at all. It just kind of I didn't think it was good, you know. So.
It popped me. The fact that he thumbtacks in this match popped me huge. I was like, God, I couldn't quite figure out how I felt about this, as you can tell, folks. Hey, what did you make of this?
So I didn't love it, but I thought it was like probably a top 5 Hook singles match. So you know, take it that what you will. Hook struggled to take some of Brian Cage's moves and struggled to deliver some as well. So
his bumping doesn't look great to my untrained eye.
Yeah. So I think if that was cleaned up, I would feel a lot better about the match. I was surprised that Hook took when I saw him take those pins out, the push pins out. I was like, he's not fucking taking those. And then He did. I was shocked. So good for you, Hook. But yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't bad. Somewhere in the middle. I was entertained.
Yeah.
By it.
It was fun TV, right? Just because they would
Yeah.
like they did tax in this random underneath, like you pop for it. And Cage again. Cage is always there's a novelty to it, Monty. You get what I'm saying?
I feel about that last sentence. You know, they got tax out in this underneath match, and you know,
it's fine. Look, it's not going to
make me feel old, Joe. You know,
I know it's not what our brain was trained to accept, but it's not going to hurt anything. It's fine.
That's
No one will remember it.
Hook needs to be wrestling every single week on Honor Club. Honestly.
Yes.
Yeah, I wanted him. You know when he was doing the thing with you that culminated in an FTW title match?
Yeah.
I wanted him to win the Pure Belt and work those matches on Honor Club, because no one would be watching.
Yeah.
And it would force him to wrestle like normal matches, right? You'd think.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my pitch, but I think that's part of my issue with this match. Not that the match was bad. It was more, I feel like I've seen this play called a lot. You know, like plunder match, a heel you know isn't going to beat Hook. It's just, I don't know. It doesn't really excite me much anymore. Charlie, what did you make of this?
I thought there was good elements to it, but it was just kind of all over the place. I don't know. I am quite high on Hook. I think he's got quite a lot of potential. They just don't know who to have him in the ring with to figure out that potential at the moment. I think the closest they got was when he had that match with Rocky Romero. I remember that being like a pretty solid performance from him. But I think Brian Cage is like just an incredibly funny wrestler. Like he's always going to do he's going to get his shit in, like you said. But yeah, I don't think this was like actively bad. It just wasn't great. Like it was fine. The fun tax popped me. Like I am one of those people.
No, I co-sign it, and you're right. Brian Cage, he always delivers a good. Like, he came out with a cape, and he like sort of.
He did.
He like his first move was like a super kick, and he just every time he does anything, he does that Steiner deal of like looking to the camera like I'm awesome, you know. It's like God bless him. I mean, I think he's signed on for another couple of years, and like he doesn't let them down when they call his numbers. So
yeah,
I think he's a good role
fan
player.
of the machine.
Yeah, I think he could be like legitimately awesome in a tag team. I don't know we say that a lot around here, but like trimming all the other stuff he does and just letting him do his cool moves, which is basically all he wants to do anyway, would be, I think, beneficial to him. I always thought that him and Artros would be natural in that regard, but well,
that tag team he had with Big Bill got over as fuck, but they broke it off.
Go back to that, because I'm sure like whether Ricky's staying or going, I don't think they're going to be a tag for much longer, right? So go back to that when Bill moves on. I think that'd be perfect, honestly. So yeah, I was going to say we'll see what happens next with Brian Cage. We might not. I don't know if we're going to see that actually on this show, but nonetheless, here he was, and it was a fun little plunder match. And post match, we don't need to go over the Jericho thing again, but he made the save. And as soon as Gates of Agony jumped, like, you knew that was going to be Jericho's spot. So we're definitely going to get some Jericho and Hook tag team stuff here, and we'll see kind of what comes from that. Okay, speaking of tag teams, we had a little video package here for the tag team tournament. This was cool, right? Like kind of like a recap of the tag belts history. There were a couple omissions from this. Am I right in saying? I feel like there was a couple champs that did not make the cut.
Jurassic Express and the Guns.
Was Ricky and Bill in it?
No, they weren't in it either. So I think that was free.
Well, the Guns not being in it suggests then that it's more just there was only so much time, right? Because initially, when I knew the other two in it, I was like, that's interesting. But nonetheless, Chuck, I know you're the resident tag team aficionado here. Was this cool to see this kind of little history lesson on the show?
Yes, it was very, very cool. Them highlighting all the different tag teams in AEW, and it kind of like in a way, like I know this wasn't the point of it. It kind of showed when they went through a rocky patch with the division, which was very fucking funny. And I don't think that was the point, but no, it was really cool to see them like putting this over and like putting over the tournament. And I realized after they used that audio from the scrum, which is like the first time they've done something like that for one of these video packages. But I'm excited for the tournament. I hope it's got like actual good tag teams in. Yeah,
also while we're on this, it's like an irrelevant note. We discussed Cage and Hook. I like that little video they did there too, where they noted their Team Taz history, because I kind of forgotten they were in the same time. I thought that was different points. So little things adds like polish to the show, adds context. I think this was a good move. AO, gut feeling. I'm just going to ask you, cold here. Who's winning the tag team titles, mate?
Matthew and Nicholas Jackson.
There you go.
Young Bucks.
Wonderful.
Oh my
Love
God,
it.
that shot,
Slams
that
down.
shot of Okada with the triple crown and the Bucks
Oh.
with those tag belts. Oh, that's just best for business.
Suit
Kenny,
it
I
up,
love you.
getting off the
You're my
jet.
GOAT. You're my GOAT, Kenny. You're the
Oh,
greatest
good.
wrestler of all time, but you missing all these dates with no excuse. Unacceptable. The Bucks did what they had to do. They did what they had to do. You're over here on Twitch, counter-programming us for no reason. What the fuck, Kenny? What's going on?
That is a good point. Yeah, the super chats have dried up since Kenny went live, right? So yeah, it is what it is. I'm glad you capitalized on that lob I threw up for you there, brother. Good stuff. All right, one tag team that will be in the tournament will be Orange Cassidy and Trent, which means we can postpone and pencil in a new date for Trent's heel turn that we've been booking for around 15 years, I think now. It's going to actually happen this time, Monty, right? It's going to actually happen.
It's gonna happen.
It's going to happen. Monty, are you convinced? We're convinced.
I don't know, man. I think that Trent and Orange is like a less focus on version of the situation Tony found himself in with being indecisive with Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter, where it was like it felt like it was getting close every couple of months, and then it just wouldn't happen, and then everything would be back to normal for like 3 weeks, and then someone would give someone a weird look. And then, like, you know, I mean, he just get heating up, cooling down. Then, obviously, eventually, Jamie got injured, so, you know.
Yeah.
And
What I would do,
still never did the split, so, you know.
what I would do here is, so they have a tag team match against, I don't remember against who, it doesn't really matter. But I would sow the seeds of discord there, right? And then I would have them break up before the tag team tournament. Have Trent and Rocky jump OC and be like, no, it's not best friends. It's gonna be Roppongi Vice in the tag tournament. And then you push them in there. Let whoever the last baby face is that's gonna face and lose to the Bucks, let them go over them. And then let Roppongi Vice be a player in the tag team division.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Actually, that's a good call. Yeah, hopefully there's some kind of development there. It would be nice if, like, even if it's not that specifically, giving Orange like a personal conflict coming out of this that's something completely different to what he's been doing would be cool. So hopefully they have something up their sleeve. Speaking of having something up their sleeve, this next match is one of the funnier two signed wrestler match I think we're going to get on Dynamite, as Daddy Magic, dressed like the British Bulldog in WWF 2000 with the jeans on. And he had, as someone mentioned on Twitter, he had the DDP nod with the taped ribs too. And he had a Mac Classic with Killswitch that I believe clocked in at about 2 minutes or so, I'd imagine. It was very, very brief.
Was he selling something with those taped ribs that I don't remember? Or did he just come out there like an asshole?
Collision. Remember at the end of Collision, he choke slammed him through like a chair or on a
chair?
Yeah.
That was a nasty spot.
It was. And I mean, this match, it was too short to be offensive, but I must admit I did laugh out loud at this being the match. Like when Daddy Magic's Titantron flashed, I was like, oh my God. I couldn't tell if I was,
He's a fighter, brother. He's a fighter.
I will say, and I don't want to speculate too much, but there's been some talk this evening that there may be a vacancy on the Collision team, the announced team. Genuinely, I think that would be like, I think Daddy Magic should actually be in that spot.
He's been doing a good job, bro. He's been doing a good job.
Him as a babyface counterpart to Nigel, I think that would be great. So I say that the match itself, I mean, it was a squash, Monty, basically, right? Anything on Killswitch and Daddy Magic? Incredible question. I just asked you.
Brother, Daddy Magic, he's a fighter, man. He's a fighter. He's he will fight for the honor of Daniel Garcia and his own personal pride. You know, he's the real deal, Joe.
Well, Monty, you have strong opinions on announcing in modern day announcing in all companies. How would you feel about Daddy Magic joining Nigel?
I think Daddy Magic, from what I've seen and heard of him on commentary, is genuinely like actively pretty good. I genuinely think it's a role that he could grow into and become quite great at, to be honest. So Nigel and Daddy Magic, when Joe just said he did, so I might have to start some propaganda on the WrestlePurists account for that.
Good, man. And they showed some good chemistry. A couple weeks when they did, like, when they were on commentary, they did show some chemistry there, like when Daddy Magic would sit in for Garcia matches. So I think it'd be good. You'd have to definitely tell them to, like, You have to rein them in a little bit because otherwise it
Yeah.
would just be them doing a promo on each other for 2 hours every week. But I think it could be.
I
I
think
think it could be good. Nonetheless, yeah, it could be fun, Charlie. Right? What did you make of this squash match here?
Dude, I was like looking at my phone like when it came back from. I don't know why I wasn't fast forwarding through breaks. I wasn't watching live, but like it came back or whatever, and then I saw just Daddy Magic like rampage into the ring. And I was like, "What the fuck is happening?" But no, it was a means to an end for like the next like little segment. So it was whatever. It wasn't offensive.
fine.
It just kind of happened. Though.
Especially with what it's set up. There's like I have no issue
Yeah.
with it. It was just a funny matchup to see take place.
Yeah.
Christian
did this
Cage
get
on
you-
commentary. Yeah.
He was tremendous on commentary. Did this get you fired up for the big Killswitch road to the gold that's coming up? I'm sure. You ready? You locked
did
in?
not get me fired up. Did not get me fired up.
Yeah.
You know, I don't hate Killswitch or Daddy Magic. It's a very funny match to throw on the TV. Like you said, it was too short to be offensive. The work itself was literally fine. We're in and out. You know, just saw him fill some time on TV.
Absolutely. Then post match, Garcia made the save right for Daddy Magic. Nick Wayne then got in there, and the heels left Garcia laying, and I was kind of like, "What's
Christian Cage on commentary, like Nick, get him.
my boy Nick, my son?" Christian is just glorious. But when I first was watching this, I was like, "Oh man, they shouldn't have let those two guys leave Garcia laying." I was like, "You should have just kicked their ass." And then obviously you saw what they were going for.
Yeah.
Everyone, they were on the stage like celebrating what their handiwork, and then Copeland came out. Luchasaurus through Killswitch took a
return.
hilarious bump into that table. Like he just got thrown off like out of nowhere, booming at the table, and they did this big chase deal, which was it was very much modern Christian Cage, and it was like aggressively funny, but it was also a good wrestling angle, which is pretty much what he does at this point, right? Like stole the car and drove off, and then Copeland cut a very brief promo. Saying that, you know, it's March 20th, right? 2 weeks from March,
Toronto.
Yes, Toronto, March 20th. I Quit match. Cope
First
Cage
ever I
free.
Quit match in AEW.
Wow, really?
Really?
Yeah.
No. There's one other. King and Mox, Full Gear.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Which, to be fair,
Fucking
Eddie didn't say I
days.
quit. I don't think so. I think he just
Yeah.
said yes. So, I assume this means title change. What do you make of the post match angle and then the match coming up in Toronto?
You know, I was pretty bummed that DG didn't win at Revolution. I didn't think it was the worst decision in the world, but I thought they could have done something really inspired by putting the belt onto him. Yeah, I've really liked Cope's work since he's come to AEW. I can see why they're continuing this story. It's done well. It's been a pretty good story. That match in Toronto should be heated as fuck. Hometown
Yes.
boys, you know, two legends in the game. Give Copeland his TNT title run. You know, there used to be rumors from within AEW that he'd be taking that big belt off of Max. And I was like, all right, let's all slow down here. Let's all slow down here. The TNT title division is definitely more his speed, and I'm open to it. Let's do it.
Yeah, I agree, and I liked both the first two Christian and Copeland matches too. So like, I think this will probably be very dramatic, and as you said, should have a lot of heat for sure. Charlie, what do you make of Cope Cage free? Are you into it?
I'm into Copeland and Christian having another match. I really wish Danny won the belt, bro. Like, I haven't had a chance to talk about Revolution on any podcast yet, but the energy in Greensboro for Daniel Garcia was fucking insane in the building. Like, I don't know how well it came across on like pay-per-view or whatever.
Oh yeah,
but
it was there.
People really wanted him to win. Like it kind of deflated a little bit when Christian got the pin. Like, people were just like, oh fuck. Like, they really wanted Danny to win. But I think the I Quit match is going to be fun. Like, have they had an I Quit match before? Is that something that's happened?
Christian and Copeland specifically, you mean?
Yeah.
No, Cope had one. He had an I Quit match that was very polarizing in WWE with Finn Balor a couple of years ago. That was.
Oh my god, that got slandered to hell on Twitter.
That was like
even WWE fans.
Yeah, it was like a world war. It was the one that Ibu liked, that he got like attacked. Remember he got jumped.
He got jumped for like.
I do remember this. But I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a really good time. It will be. I thought what was interesting about this, though, there was something that happened in this segment, and I wrote it down in my notes. Didn't Danny come out to save Matt Menard?
Yes.
Yeah, they put the boots in.
And then
Yeah,
Copeland didn't. He waited until Christian was up on the ramp.
Got you.
Yeah. So
right.
Danny got his ass beat, and then Copeland didn't make the save. He waited until Christian had left the ring, which I thought was an interesting little tidbit.
They're going somewhere with that, I think. Garcia made a point of like, I would have tapped you out if it went on any longer. I think you're right to point that out. I'm glad you did, yeah. So, Monty, what do you reckon? Adam Cope, TNT champ, you fired up?
Sorry, I was just reading chat. I put something in the private chat, and then it immediately got spoiled in the main chat. I was like, all right, whatever.
So I don't know, I don't know if we want to bring up, because they may be doing an angle on Collision, which is why I was hesitant. Yeah. It appears there's been a change of matchmaking of something we were just talking about, basically, is what I'll say for now, I guess. Monty, I'm going to be honest, based on the way you've reacted to my question, you don't seem fired up for Adam Copeland as TNT champ.
I don't know, man. It's obviously, when Adam Copeland first came in, it's like, I don't know, it's like it should have already happened, you know? Like, I was ready for Garcia to win that belt, bro. Like, I still want Garcia to win that belt, bro. You know what I mean? Like, just because he lost on Sunday doesn't mean that my feelings have changed, you know?
Right.
So,
I get it.
That's kind of. But yeah, Copeland, you know, maybe Garcia can take it off him in some kind of weird, I don't know, you know.
I don't think you have a long...
The match did go to a DQ. So there is kind of some... You can get there, you know. Yeah, but, oh, man, I don't know, man. Like I said, I think with Adam Copeland, it was like, okay, this is what I want to do when I come into AEW, is have his TNT belt so I can use it as a vehicle to wrestle like the young guys and just other people that I want to wrestle on the card from week to week when I am around. However, obviously... the storylines and characters within AEW and within his storyline have also developed, and he's taken time off, and you know what I mean. So it's like now, I won't say the window's closed. Of course, it's not listening to the reaction when he came back yesterday, and it's still Adam Copeland, it's Edge. You know what I mean? But Daniel, my always on Garcia right now. You know.
Yeah, I get it. If it helps, I think it will be one of those reigns where he's like super active for a short burst of time.
Yeah,
you know, like
title defense is not here for a good time, not a long time type of thing.
That's my feeling on it. I still think him and Christian are going to be teaming by the time we get to Wembley. I still feel that way.
Yeah.
It make a lot of sense
because the way they do their creative, and we know they have a lot of say of what they do. Let's be real. I mean, they're both obviously very, very powerful in AEW, as they should be. They're both super experienced, but I think they'll have a specific idea for Wembley. But yeah, I don't know. I definitely get the kind of preferring Garcia take it on Sunday, but I'm into this. I think the third match will be very good nonetheless. All right, backstage, Kyle O'Reilly promo segment, talking about seemed kind of conflicted right about the Undisputed Kingdom thing, but ultimately said that. Like he doesn't want to take the easy path. I think it was kind of the main point here. But yeah, this was interesting in terms of this was a very human promo, right? Very, very human promo. And Kyle can be many different things as a personality. He can be like outright goofy and silly, but here he was very, very straight-laced with it and was very honest. So, intriguing presentation, Chuck. You seem very fired up. What did you make of Kyle's promo segment?
I have never been so happy to be in the building for a return. Like, him coming back at Revolution, I was so fucking happy. I miss Kyle O'Reilly so dearly.
No, I was just like, who saw Kyle O'Reilly returning at Revolution? Like, that wasn't
not me. I thought it would be at Vancouver. So I'd already accepted the fact that I wasn't getting a Kyle O'Reilly return at Revolution, and then it happened. It was a lot of emotions, but I thought this was a really good promo. I'm glad that they didn't send him out to the ring with a mic and try and start an angle straight away. They're just kind of letting his return breathe and figuring out his way. And I hope they go back onto the Kyle O'Reilly singles run, because he was doing an incredible job a couple of years ago. That sounds crazy to say, a couple of years ago before he got injured. Those string of matches he had were really good. So I'm excited about it. I love Kyle O'Reilly so much. I'm very happy.
To your point about a couple of years ago, unless I'm mistaken, Renee wasn't in the company when Kyle went down with that injury.
I appreciate this.
Yeah, it's unfathomable. But thankfully he's back. I know you're a big fan, right? What did you make of this kind of reintroduction to him as a character?
I really do like Kyle O'Reilly. I know people think I hated him because I was kind of against the singles push 2 years
You
ago.
were? I
But
thought you were
this
really
was a
into
fucking
it.
tag team. No,
Yeah.
I love Kyle.
Yeah,
But he was just
okay.
getting like a rocket strap on him
Right.
like a couple years ago. But he was like, Red Dragon was like still a tag team at the time, so I didn't understand it because there was other guys that people wanted to see us get pushed and stuff. So no, I love Kyle.
Mhm.
I'm interested to see where they go with this. It seems like they're gonna keep him separate from Undisputed Era right now. Maybe he's the guy, Undisputed Kingdom. Maybe he's the guy who takes the belt off of Roddy in a couple
Maybe.
months. I hope they're not a really like planting the seed is fine, but I hope Roddy gets a extended run with this belt. Like I hope he gets a Orange Cassidy-esque, like I'm wrestling every week. Which mid Carter am I making count the lights this time? Like this. That's what you signed Roderick Strong for. If not that, then why are you paying him money? Scream at him? Like
apparently, yeah. I would like to know, for anyone listening to this on delay, especially the match that we thought had changed has apparently not changed. So don't worry about it, folks. False alarm. You can still be
I'm
mad
glad
about
I didn't
the
pop on there, bro. I was thinking about it. I was like, do I pop? I was like,
yeah.
no, I gotta see something official.
Yeah, I love me some Bobby Cruz, but I read that and thought, well, we'll see. It's not carried away. Monty, what do you think is the right role for Kyle O'Reilly? What do you reckon? What do you think the ideal spot is for him on this roster?
Why you always
Because you're in the co-host role and I'm testing you now. That's just what I'm doing.
Where do I see Kyle O'Reilly? I think it's impossible to say at this point because, as we've already pointed out, quite shockingly, it's been basically a couple of years since we've seen him wrestle. So until we get a feel for where he's at in ring, does he have ring rust? How much ring rust? Does he have none at all? You know, how does he adjust? How does he fit in when we see him on screen, in the ring and stuff? Like, what sort of presence does he have? How did the crowd take to him? All these different things. So I think it's actually quite hard to actually place him right now because we don't know what he's capable of in 2024. You would hope he's still the wrestler he was in 2021 because Kyle O'Reilly, for his lack of being a skilled promo or anything like that, he was always a really good worker. So obviously you would hope that we can still hold on to that in 2024 going forwards. And maybe I wasn't exactly on board with the singles run that the big singles push that he got when he was getting it. In hindsight, we're quite lucky that we got it. Obviously with him being injured and stuff like that and not getting to see him have matches for so long, it's good that we got to see him have big matches at that time in hindsight. But at the time, it was like, it's all been AEW, it was like super hot and stuff. And it's like there was other, as AO mentioned, there was other people who felt like would have been better positioned to be pushed at that time. That said, Kyle O'Reilly, great worker, and when he got those opportunities, he absolutely lived up to them, But yeah, I think obviously you'd think maybe a tag with Roddy, maybe a singles title like the international title, the TNT title, maybe the ROH title or something, there's multiple things in it, but the main thing would be if he is up to it, you want to see him working. I don't need to see him in these elaborate angles and promos and stuff. I want to see him wrestle. So,
who would you have his first match be? Like his first match back?
Great question. So, do we think it's going to be Toronto for that? What do you reckon?
Yeah, they're too far out from Vancouver to keep it for there.
Feels like Toronto would be a natural. You do one more promo next week and he's ready.
Set up a match.
That is a great question. We should actually have an answer for this.
Well, he had that great match with Moxley. You could put him back in with Mox, but who loses at that?
He can't.
You got to give him a win.
That would be a bit ridiculous.
Yeah, we need an underneath guy from a B.
How about Brian Cage?
I would like that.
I don't know.
I would like that.
I think because of his neck injury and obviously the severity of it, like you can play on that, So it's like, especially when it's someone who's actually a good worker like Kyle, and it won't be like the corny selling, which I'll kind of roll my eyes at and shit. But, someone who can just kind of like beat the shit out of him, make the audience genuinely worry about him and shit, and then obviously build a great comeback. And because that's what I thought Brian Cage.
I think that's a good pitch, but I would do that match too, and I'd have him like have a more smooth first one, you know.
Thrown out to Keshta. Oh my god.
I don't remember.
Jesus.
I
Guys, we need somebody who could beat.
Like Joe said,
Yes,
those
Adele's
could be
not
two
bad.
separate matches. You know,
yeah,
throw him AR Fox, man. Have an exciting
yeah.
match.
I'd do Rocky
He
Romero.
always he matches
Rocky
really well
Romero
with
is a
high
good
flyers.
shout.
Rocky's a
I
good
love
shot. Rocky's a
Rocky.
safe option.
Let's do
I'd put
Rocky.
him in like the same category as like a
Rocky's
Matt
safe.
Sydal.
And they can have like a competitive match without like, you know, because some of the matches you look at that would be safe wouldn't be very fun to watch. I think they'd have a really nice little match, you know. So something like that, but
Who are
hopefully
the powerhouses he could go over? Because like you could like
you
Hobbs.
know.
I wouldn't want him to beat Hobbs. You know what I mean? So it's like I wouldn't want him to beat Hobbs.
Your boy might be back by then, Monty. Your boy Keith Lee.
your boy was crazy.
The former NXT and North American double champ, Keith Lee.
Yeah, good. Go up to
Lance
Keith and
Archer?
ask him about that Kyle O'Reilly
How
job.
do
That'd
you
be
feel about
something.
laying down for Kyle, bro?
Yeah. He said, I feel like going home.
I'm out of here.
Yeah, there's I like, you know, Copeland in the chat have said Sydal. I think Sydal's enough. He's in the Rocky vein, right? Like, it'll be a
Yeah.
smooth match.
Archer.
So yeah,
Someone
that
said
would-
yeah.
yeah.
Archer.
I want Archer to. It'd be great if he could find like a real role on the TV. You know, I liked his answer he gave you, Money, but it's hard to see like where he is generally, right? Like, he works like 6 man with the Righteous on Ring of Honor. It feels like he could. There's something better for him to do than that to me.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Especially when he talks about, because I thought when he said to me about his role and how he seems like pretty chill about it and ready to go whenever he's called upon, it's like I was expecting him to be like when I was asking him about how he's feeling physically, and he was just like, "Yeah, I'm fine, like I'm good." You know, like, I was expecting him to be like, "Yeah, it's nice to have a couple of weeks off in between and stuff," but no, he's ready to go,
Dude.
even though he's 47, bro.
His bump count though over the last 4 years must be incredible. Like there's no ways. Most of his matches are squash matches. He doesn't ever fall down.
He's feeling great. He's feeling great right now.
Yeah, it's a hell of a life. All right, back to Dynamite. Sting, they had a video for Sting, which was very much appreciated. That was a moment.
great.
You could replay parts of that every week for a year, and I'll be fine with it. Honestly, that you should celebrate that.
Tattoo. Oh my god, I'm not sure.
My
it's very
God,
well.
there
you
he
go.
is.
There he
Real
is.
graps.
Oh,
Real
I
graps.
also now have a dog. Jesus Christ. It's wrecking it. Not just that.
When I was watching that, I thought of something that Monty always says is like when AEW like knocks something out the park, they need to do a better job of patting themselves on the back for it. And I think they've done a great job with that, with like how they've been like celebrating Revolution on social media since it's happened, and then doing a whole package on TV. So more of that in the future.
Yeah, I agree completely. I think that's actually like one of their biggest flaws. Weirdly, it's like they don't give themselves, they don't pat themselves on the back.
Sometimes it's crazy. Sometimes they'll have literally like an all-time pay-per-view, and you wouldn't
just
know what
move on,
happened if you watched the next
Move on.
time. It's fucking insane.
Yeah. They do it with matches too. They have like these absolute all-time classic matches, and it's like, anyway, next week he's wrestling, you know, like. But the Young Bucks came out for what, even with a great main event, I still think this was the highlight of the whole show. This to me was the thing that was like that makes me want to keep tuning in. The Bucks came out and they said they had a couple of announcements. Before they even got to the announcements, Nick said they were in the tag tournament, right? And then Matt very reluctantly, Matthew. I apologize, folks. Don't find me, please. We're already cutting
Don't
Monty
make
in
it
on
a
his
habit. Don't
pay,
make it a
bro.
habit.
Right, okay, thank you. So Matthew very reluctantly, to be fair, right? Like he suspended Hangman Adam Page from the Elite without pay, and then he fired Kenny Omega for, as the crime that I mentioned, no showing dates without any good excuse, which you can't argue with that. Both very fair executive moves.
Right.
And I was thinking, for a moment, I was wondering about Kenny. I'm going to be honest. When they said Kenny, I was like, "Whoa, what's going to happen here?" Never did I think of Eddie Kingston coming out, but then, of course, you're reminded last week they had an interaction with King, right? And so Eddie came out, and within seconds, physicality transpired as Eddie was so confrontational that immediately they were fighting, and they set him up for the EVP trigger. The Rainmaker music hits, place explodes. Okada comes out in a suit, which was an immediate bat signal moment for anyone who knows anything about him. Yes. Anyone who's familiar with him was like, And of course, it was all a twist. They look like they're gonna have like a 2-on-2 brawl, and instead Eddie eats a Rainmaker. The Elite now in the center of that is Kazuchika Okada. This was a big time money angle,
Right.
and felt like the most interesting way to me personally. And I think you guys are gonna agree. To me, this is the most interesting way to introduce him. Like, rather than just having him be like New Japan legend, who's the exact same, this is going to be fresh and exciting. I loved this whole deal. This was tremendous wrestling TV. I thought, Monty, what did you make of this angle?
The Young Bucks at the moment, like, I'm still really enjoying what they're doing with this EVP stuff, but it's more so kind of like it's in the details with the Bucks, which is very kind of reflective of their wrestling as well. You know, like they're very much big on the details, whether it's the suits, the facial hair, the Triple H finger point, the Tony Khan cadence, the all of it, you know, it's all these little details rolled into one, you know, and they're taking little pot shots at people and they're doing their little thing, you know, and those are the things that I like the most about it. Really, really enjoying it, in fact. Whereas like the actual like promos, if that makes sense, like as like when they do actual like the live promo they did yesterday, I can kind of take it or leave it, you know. Again, it's more so kind of like it's all.
I'm taking it, brother.
Chuck said I'm leaving. She said enough.
Well, yeah, when it comes to like the overall, like, you know, because like young Bucks, when it comes to like live promos, it's never been like their like super strong suit. Although they are being very entertaining with this, it's like giving someone little details throughout their promos, like Kenny missing dates. You know, we had to do what we had to do, brother. You know, but yeah, as an angle, I think Ash said it on Twitter. Debuting Kazuchika Okada, if you know anything about him, as like a corporate suit wearing shithead on American television, I can't think of anything more ideal. You know,
right.
It's perfect for him. So yeah, I think this can be because I think the worry about Okada coming in was like, how can we get him to a point where he's perceived as big of a deal as he is in like Japan, and how people who follow Japan perceive him, you know, to those that don't perceive him that way. And I think, you know, having him be kind of like the corporate like ace for the Young Bucks and the EVPs, and have them kind of like, you know, I think I said it to Charlie like yesterday or the day before, like them kind of like manipulating him to be like their heel corporate badass, you know, to eventually set up him down the line, turning face against stars of his caliber, you know, and you can finally get from point A to point B with him and having kind of like really established and, you know, built up properly on the show, rather than just like throwing him out there and being like, this is Okada, he's great, you know he's great, and we expect everybody to know he's great, and you know what I mean? And because I was quite worried that was what they were going to do, you know?
Yeah, I was too.
So
yeah, I agree. And
this was a success.
Absolutely. I also should have noted that I appreciated that before they got into this business, Nicholas cut that fired up promo about losing the Sting loss. I thought that was good too. Like, it put a bow on that well, I thought, before moving on. So, yeah, I thought this ticked every box. I think I know the answer, but what did you make of this big angle here in the middle of Dynamite?
Genuinely, in the 5 years of All Elite Wrestling's existence, this is one of the best things they've ever done, in my opinion. I fucking loved this. Like, Hangman, you're out here acting like a thug. You're attacking referees. You're suspended, my boy. Kenny Omega, his lazy ass. Who knows where he's at? He's on Twitch right now, counter-programming WrestlePurists. You're my GOAT. I love you forever, Kenny. But this is just unacceptable, bro. Why are you missing these dates? You're fired. All right? Then this thug, Eddie Kingston, comes out and attacks his bosses. His bosses that he's known for almost 20 years. His bosses that helped him get a job in All Elite Wrestling. Help him feed his family. He put his chubby fingers on Matthew and Nicholas Jackson. A disgusting act. All right. Okada comes out. At first, I'm like, what's going on here? Like, is Eddie Okada about to tag against the Bucks? Like, is that really what's going on here? You see him wear a suit, right? And you know anything about Okada, it's that he wears suits all the time in his personal life. But like when he's doing wrestling, he's never wearing he never wears a suit. Like during like wrestling shit, like all of his Dynamite appearances, he doesn't wear a suit. When he appears in New Japan, like even backstage and stuff like that, he's not wearing a suit. So you're just like, you see that, you're rubbing your chin. What's going on here? him and Eddie square off against the Bucks, and I'm like, yeah, I see the steel chair to the back moment coming. Like as soon as they squared off against the Bucks, I was like, I saw it coming. He gets wrist control. He rainmakers Eddie's head into the third row. It was a beautiful moment, bro. He's now the newest member of the Elite. This was an amazing angle. It would have been so easy to just have babyface Rainmaker, New Japan Legend come in. Oh, guess what, guys? He's making his AEW debut next week against Matt Sydal. Guys, the week after that, we got him wrestling fucking Scorpio Sky, guys. And then like it would have been really easy to do that. And I'm so glad they didn't. Like like I was scared when there would have been like this whole like Kazu verse or whatever. It was just like he has his match of the week. He fights for titles eventually. He wins some, he loses some. But whatever he's doing is contained. And now they put him right in the shit. He's with the EVPs. They're gonna be his mouthpiece for him. I love this, bro. This is amazing. When he hit the Rainmaker pose and they did the double bicep flex, oh my god, Joe. I changed my pants, brother. That was crazy experience.
It really it was money though. This was as someone who I wasn't desperate to see an Okada AEW run because of what you just described was my assumption it would be. Like, this immediately hooked me, and even to the first opponent, right, in terms of the first big opponent, like Eddie Kingston is going to bring a very different type of match out of Okada than we've been seeing in like a New Japan main event because that match wouldn't make sense with Eddie, right? They're not going to have that the kind of New Japan epic, so to speak. So, yeah, this is a very, very exciting direction. I'm pretty sure I know what you think, but also on the big segment.
Oh, I absolutely love this segment. Like, I don't think they could have done it any more perfectly than the way that they executed it. Like Eddie coming out, like you said, I was a little bit confused at first, and then I remembered they'd been setting this up for the last couple of weeks with Eddie being like, "You guys cannot be saying the shit you're saying," that sort of stuff. But like Okada coming out in the suit, and then like immediately just like rainmaking Eddie was fucking hilarious to me. But I don't know. I think this is going to be awesome, and I'm so glad that they didn't do what I was scared they were going to do and put him in the main event scene straight away because they very easily could have had him come out in that like first segment as well. Yeah. Like nothing would have shocked me if they had done that. But I feel like this angle going after Eddie with the Triple Crown, it's very fitting. And heel Okada, man, it's going to be a lot of fun in AEW. I'm very, very excited to see where this goes. And they've set up like a bunch of future matches as well. Like they've set up the Eddie match, they've set up the potential Hangman match, the potential Kenny match when he comes back. Like there's a lot here to dig into. Yeah,
absolutely. I agree. I think, again, the main event on this was great. And I know that got a lot of the headlines coming out of the show, but this to me was the highlight of the show because it has ramifications for the show we're going to be watching moving forward, right? This was like, there's as you mentioned, Charlie, there were many ways to do this Okada debut that would have been like, that'll be cool. This wasn't that. This was, oh shit, this is going to be interesting and new and exciting. So very, very intrigued as to how this develops. This really could become kind of like the centerpiece of the show at times. I think that's very, very in play, especially when we look ahead to a potential Omega return. And again, we don't know the date, we don't know the timeline, but it's hard not to look at Wembley for Okada Omega, right? It's hard not to. I mean, it just feels like the natural kind of escalation for a match with that history. So very, very exciting times. Speaking of excitement, yes, right, mate?
I'm not sure they'll do Okada or Omega at Wembley, you know.
Why is
because
that?
I think they'll want, and I feel like Tony Khan will feel like he needs to give it enough time that it can match the caliber of the other matches that they've had. Mm-hmm. So it's like, are they going to get 40-45 minutes on a Wembley show?
Yeah,
when they're trying to, do you know what I mean? So it's like I could see that being like a main or a co-main of a show that isn't, you know, they're not stressing getting people on the card and stuff like that.
I think that's a fair, but I think they may be a little more loose with getting everyone on the card this year because they did it. Because they did it, you know. I get to get your logic. Smart,
you know,
I just think it's like the pomp and circumstance and the setting for that just feels right. If you're going to go back to that rivalry, because it's not the thing with that one is it isn't just a classic wrestling rivalry, but it's also like it's part of AEW's history, whether it is or isn't almost, right? Because of what it meant for the industry. Like it changed things. So I just think And obviously, this sounds dumb me saying, of course, I think that I'm going to be there, right? Chuck and I are like,
Yeah.
yeah, Wembley. But it does feel natural to me. I don't know. We'll, I mean, wherever it happens, we're going to be watching, right? Goes without saying.
Wherever it happens, I will be there. I will be
Yes.
making that flight.
I think anyone who's familiar with your history of attending wrestling shows believes it too. That's absolutely going to happen. So,
Oh, dude.
I think if the criticism hasn't been loud, but it's definitely been there. That while All In One was a huge success and like everybody had fun and everybody loved living in the moment, that looking back, it wasn't actually the greatest wrestling show. Like it wasn't a particularly
I'm
great wrestling
spearhead of
show.
that criticism.
If
I talk
if
about it all the
TK,
time.
like if TK's heard that criticism, I think a great way to remedy that is to co-main Omega Okada 5 with Ospreay versus Swerve. Like just you run
Ron,
those two
Jamie
matches
versus
back to back.
Mercedes.
You're Jamie versus Mercedes. You run those 3 matches back to back to back. Like that's show of the year. And I think they want to establish All In as their WrestleMania. So they want these like great reviews and all of that. So I don't think it's out of the question.
yeah, I agree. I actually think like because again, last year had a novelty, right? Seeing that
Yeah.
show last year visually was like whoa, and it was a really fun show. But like, I definitely think if the idea is this is going to be an annual super show, I think giving it a match that lives forever would be the play. So
Right.
that would certainly have a good chance at that. This next match may not live forever, but this was a hoot and a half. Riho and Chris Statlander. I thought this match was just awesome. I absolutely. I mean, this was a natural style matchup. Yeah, natural style matchup. Chris is such a powerhouse, and Riho, when she's paired with anyone who has like offense such as that, it's always natural. Really strong matchup. We had some business in the finish with Stokely and Chris, with opting against using the chain and blaming Stokely after she got caught. We were wondering the finish, and indeed, Riho got the win here. Really, really nice match. Just broad thoughts on a really strong match for women's division, which we have to be honest, hasn't always been the case as of late, right? It's not been
Right.
great in ring. So, what did you think of this?
Love this match. Rio and Chris Stat are two of my favorite wrestlers on the planet, regardless of gender. I think they're both sensational. They had a really, really, really enjoyable matchup here. I wasn't sure who was going to come out with the W. Like, obviously, Rio's just like getting back to the swing of things, but Chris Stat, they do protect her pretty well. But the mini losing streak continues with her having the angel and the devil on her shoulder. I do wonder what like a heel Chris Statlander looks like. I don't know if I'm desperate to see that move right now.
Yeah.
I really want to see her as a babyface world champion one of these days. But if Mercedes is coming in babyface, which I think she has to, have Chris Stat on the other side of this. Like, have Chris Stat on the other side of this and eventually be the person to take that belt off of her. I think there's a lot of money to be made there. But yeah, it was really enjoyable. I like this match a lot.
I think it's been maybe we've mentioned it on the show previously, but I personally think this Stoke thing may be headed towards him getting someone else to fight his. But I think this may be where Megan Bain comes in. I think we've discussed this, right, Chuck? Yeah, that feels like the natural. But nonetheless, Chuck, what did you make of Chris and Riho?
I thought it was the best match of the night up until this point. Like, they kind of blew everyone else out of the water. It really goes to show, like, when they're putting women that they've had in the company for ages now in good matches and giving them time on TV, the women's division can show out on TV. They did a really good job of this, and I'm interested to see where this Stokely business goes. I think it's sooner rather than later for Megan Bain to be coming in, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens, especially with Willow seeming like she's got unfinished business with Julia still, and she's still going after that. So,
yeah, it's one of those ones with this where it's like, of course this match was good. Like they're both really good pro wrestlers. I sometimes wish if it's going to be like one block for the women inside the ring, then like we need more pairings like this, even if it is a babyface match. Yeah, we all agreed that Tony and Deonna had some nice elements to their build, but inside the ropes, it was just like finding someone who could lose more than have a good match, right? And in this, I'd much rather the players in the division just lose matches on occasion. Nonetheless, Monty, what did you make of the match, mate?
No, not too much to add, really. It's just like sometimes there's just really obvious matchups that produce good matches that don't surprise you, and this was one of them. It went about 10 minutes. Chris showed some good offense using the power and stuff like that. Rio mounted a really good comeback and eventually got the win after some kerfuffle with all the Stokely stuff. And yeah, like I said, not really too much else to add that you guys haven't already said, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, simple outline, right? Just really well executed, I think it's fair to say. I believe we have a couple super chats, so take it away, mate.
Indeed, we do. Ice Cube Jr. $5 super chat. Who is this Okada guy? How come there was no video package for him? And this will Ospreay fella. No one explained who he is. SmackDown tomorrow. He's acknowledging his tribal chief with that emoji. Well, Okada's been on Dynamite before already, a couple times.
Yeah.
Mr. Ice Cube Jr. So is Ospreay. I feel like you need to just watch the products. Fucking drone. watch the products. Chi-Town Spurs $5 super chat. So considering Eddie versus Okada is the program for the next 6 weeks, when is Shibata gonna come back and get involved? Didn't Shibata sign a new deal with New Japan? So now he's splitting his time. Wasn't that something that was reported?
I thought it was just all elite.
I think he's all elite, yeah.
Let me see.
I think what happened was he had to go. There was a visa problem. I think.
Yeah, there was a visa issue and he had to go home, and it was.
I will say that is a great point though. Chi-Town Spurs, because they established that as a pairing, right? They had a tag in Chicago, and they were like, that was like one of Eddie's friends against the Blackpool Combat Club for like a minute there. I hadn't even considered that. The idea of like Eddie needing backup against Kazuchika Okada and it's Shibata, that would be a moment. Yeah, now that's a match where I wouldn't go, like, I'm going to be completely clear about this now, but if it backfires on me, whatever, I'll be happy to be wrong. I would not go back to Okada and Shibata as a singles match. I don't want
to see it.
No, you can't. You can't.
Leave the memories alone, please.
It's so unique in just like...
Yes. However... All-Star tag with Ed Kingston.
Oh, I can take an All-Star tag.
Because you can play a couple hits without having the expectations of living up to that match, which you're never going to be. Isn't that you can't recreate that?
They will never recapture what that match was. And people who want them to rerun it, bro, just go rewatch the match.
Watch the match back. Still a classic, I promise. This reminds me of when Edge came to AEW, Matt Hardy really started hammering on. It's like, we need another TLC. We need another TLC. Like you said on his pod, he was saying in interviews, and an interviewer eventually asked Adam Copeland about it. They weren't like, "Oh, Matt's pushing for this," but they were just like, "What do you think about doing another TLC?" And he was just like, "I think we need to leave those memories in the past, brother. Those matches happened almost 30 years ago. It's like, bro, they're not going to be as good. Like, we need just go back and rewatch the matches. They're still there." I know Matt was just like. You're just like, fuck this guy, bro.
That was like the last hope, right? That was the last shot. Like, fuck.
Nathan Dewey, $7 Canadian. We appreciate you. Appreciate the passion of WrestlePurists. Mahalo. This rockism is just becoming part of the community's vernacular. It's very funny.
I had one I was going to pull the trigger on earlier, and I was like, I've done too many for this. I'm going to give it a day or two. Like, it's like a high spot, right? You got to leave it for a second. We'll come back to it, but I'm glad people are popping. I mean, he is just very funny in ways that he doesn't intend. So,
just a fucking cyborg nowadays. What a beast. Homie Berkey, $2 super chat. Jericho match being announced was a jump scare. It was, bro. It was. Because I first saw Titan, like I saw him first on the graphic. Then I slide my eyes over, and I was just like, "Oh, oh, we got one more. Another super chat just came in. Zora Hart, $5 super chat. We appreciate you. I just don't know what you do. Julia Tony got the characters over, but the matches suck. I agree. You can't cut them out, but the division needs to progress. I think Tony is a good worker, right? She just struggles with this timeless Tony, like getting the gimmick in the match and also having exciting matches. I think you just talk to her. You just talk to her. It's like, yo, work like how you've always been working, and just get your gimmick spots in 2 or 3, maybe 4 times in a match. With Julia, man, she's over it. She's been popping quarters, but I don't think she's really where she needs to be. right now.
I mean, the thing is
wrestling.
that this is currently a problem, but it could be a great asset to the division in that those characters should allow you to do non-title programs, right?
Yeah.
Like that's what it should actually be for. And Julia is someone who I completely get why they're so high on her. Like she's super young, right? Like
Yeah.
so I think Tony and Julia both getting their character over is a huge benefit. It just needs to actually be something that you're using to add variety to the division away from the belts. Because the problem right now is like you're looking to make when you're doing matchmaking for the pay-per-view, it's like Julia versus or Tony versus. It's like at the end of the day, that's what wrestling is, right? Ultimately, you got to book a match. That's where you're headed eventually. And in both those cases, it's kind of lesser than what you're doing on the TV to build it. So I think just getting away from the belts is key.
Matchmaking could be a lot better. Like they have Julia Hart wrestling Abaddon and Anna Jay and Lady Frost, and like that you're not helping your young talent out there. Like there's people on the roster that are veterans able to carry Julia to a good match and can get beat. So the matchmaking does need to be better too.
Yeah, agree completely. The Abaddon match never made sense to me. I just didn't get that as a direction. So yeah, it's I guess
if
in some ways
house show circuit, she should be wrestling Serena Deeb like every week. To be honest,
or Emmy, right? Or Emmy every week. Like, for sure.
GN 2 pounds, thank you. Rock Holbert versus Evil Cruz with sellout MSG.
We ran a house show, Holbert house show yesterday. We had like 400 live. It was I don't know why people watch this show. We had a house. Brother. Yeah, I was
a house.
Yeah, that one might get a TV deal soon, bro.
All right, we're all caught up on super chats.
Wonderful. Keep
Real
coming,
quick,
folks.
you were talking about Tony. When Mariah came out at Revolution, did she also get you guys? Because like in the building, everyone thought that was Tony.
She got me for a second. Yeah, definitely.
She got me the entire time. I was admitting
it wasn't until the timeless Tony music hit. I was like, what the fuck?
And the announce team was like, wait a minute. That's not Tony Storm. That's Mariah May. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, are you sure? Like,
I was so lost.
I was like, what do you mean? I'm like staring at him. I'm like, I'm not sure this is Tony Storm.
That says a lot more about the state you were in watching that show, to be honest.
I was convinced.
I'm pretty sure this is Tony, bro. And the announce team's like, no, this is not Tony. All right, man. I'm gonna take your word for it.
Sitting there having an imaginary argument with Tony Schiavone.
and then the timeless Tony music hit, and I was like, "Oh, okay. I guess Shivani was right."
Shivani was right.
WrestlePurists' own Ibrahima Niang, $2 super chat. Donate to Triple H's GoFundMe through the link below. Has Hunter been found out? Is the jig up? Hopefully soon. I'll keep playing on it.
So, speaking of Tony Storm, she had a backstage promo, and we were just discussing Mariah May doing the kind of Tony cosplay. And it looks like it's going to be continuing. Like they're going to win on this little kind of mini direction here. So, yeah, that was... I don't think we need to ask you. Like, what you think of the timeless Tony shtick is what you think of it at this point, right? Like, we've all kind of established it. She's very good at it. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's more effective than others to me, but it was here nonetheless. Then we went into the Stokely and Willow promo, which, as Charlie mentioned, there was like a Julia Hart kind of direction there, which caught me, like I was a little bit surprised by. And next week at Big Business is going to be Willow and Riho, which should be another case of two good professional wrestlers, good match. Right now, Willow is
going to be crazy.
That's like physically, this is perfect. Character-wise, it's a little more challenging than Chris, right? And that Willow is like more of a pure babyface.
Pure babyface.
It'll be a little more chat, but I think the physicality will be exactly what it needs to be. So yeah, excited for Riho and Willow next week, Monty. What do you reckon? Fired up, locked in.
I'll put the belt on Willow, to be honest. I'd have a beat Riho and then go on and beat Julia Hart. Yeah, so, exactly. And as far as looking forward to the match next week, yeah, because again, like you said, Joe, good stylistic matchup. The gimmick and as in the characters, babyface, heel kind of dynamic, maybe a little bit touch and go. But ultimately, I think the physical differences in most cases with rehold matches will make up for it. So,
I tend to
yeah,
agree.
I think the match at Big Business will be good, and I'd be tempted to have Willow actually win that match, then beat Julia Hart, and then I don't know if you are going to flip stat heel, then I guess you've got a vehicle. Yeah, you've got a vehicle for that, then, haven't you? So,
yeah, no, I like that direction completely. This next segment was fascinating. The pieces in this segment, the individual performances, were tremendous, but it had a very unique vibe, and I think you guys will all get what I mean by that. The Darby Allen in-ring promo,
yes.
because promo doesn't feel like the right word for like the first portion of this, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it was like he's talking about the trip to the climb, the Mount Everest thing that's kind of been looming over. Like he's been talking about it for a while. I think wrestling fans have been kind of quietly horrified about it for a while, and it's now very, very close. And he kind of addressed the elephant in the room and was talking about how next week at Big Business could be his last match. And that was a very ominous and kind of, I mean, honestly, it was an outright kind of frightening thought right in the middle of this show.
Right.
But then what made it almost more jarring was they then just went into like a wrestling segment. And again, let me be clear, folks, the actual performances in the wrestling segment were very, very good, I thought. I liked this segment as a segment, but it just was a little jarring, the kind of tonal shift, I thought. I don't know, Aaron, what did you make of this kind of, because again, Jay and Darby had an extended back and forth, right? They went out, like, it wasn't a short thing. So a lot of different pieces here. What did we make of this segment?
Oh, I saw some podcasts today, like one of those washed up bombs. They're just like, oh well, the whole thing they should have used it to make a talent. And then somebody was retorted to that. They was like, they did make a talent. They made Darby Allen, and I agree with that. Like Darby Allen's he's a superstar in AEW now, bro.
Yeah,
like
I agree.
I all of us up here think he's one of the best wrestlers in the world, and that he's got the star power to match it too. It would be a shame if all that work was put into Darby, he just dies up there. Oh, it's a really harrowing thought. Like every time he's talked about this, I'm like, yo, I know Darby's crazy, but he's not fucking climbing Mount Everest, bro. He's not actually gonna do it. Like something's gonna come up, and he's just not. Like I remember he separated his shoulder. He had like a 1st-degree separation, and I was like, oh yeah, that's it for Mount Everest. It's not happening anymore. And he's just like, no, I'm still doing it. I can't believe they're letting him do this. I'm sure Darby did really well to wrestle at All Elite Wrestling. I'm shocked TK's not putting his foot down, but he's not. Darby's got a lot of money. He could pay for the best guides. He could pay for the best gear. He's a professional athlete. Hopefully it goes well. Jay White came out there. He did his Jay White thing. I'm fired up for the match. The back and forth, I thought it went a little too long, but this is one of Darby's better microphone performances. Yeah. Jay White's Jay White. He's very comfortable on the mic. I'm excited. I'm really excited for the match. Me too. Again, it's like the actual wrestling segment here was very, very good. It just had a very strange atmosphere because it was a sharp turn because everybody's up there like mourning Darby, and then he's just like Jay White comes out. He's like, hey man, maybe you will die up there, but you gotta lay down for me first, brother. Yeah, someone on my timeline joked about like Jay came out and was like, "You're kind of weird guy." I don't know. It was a fascinating block of TV. This Charlie, what did you think of this? Wait, real quick before Chuck starts talking, did y'all see the tweet that somebody was like, "This Darby Allen promo right now"? Then they posted the picture of Ultimate Warrior promo 2 days before he died. I was like, "Oh my god." It was a little uncomfortable. I gotta be honest. I mean, it was weird. Charlie, what did you make of this?
Yeah, the Darby promo was very scary and very like, oh shit, you are actually going through this, and it is happening like this month. Like, I hope he comes back because it's crazy to think about that. There is a very real possibility that last week could be Darby's last wrestling match. Like, even like if nothing like goes drastically wrong in Mount Everest and he just gets injured or whatever, like they could still end his career. Like, it is very, very scary. But I'm looking forward to the Jay White match. Like the segment built to it well. Yeah, I understand why you're laughing because it feels insane to compare those two sentences, but that's what the segment did. So I don't know, folks. It's
Obviously, it
wild.
goes without saying. Obviously, we're all hoping that he gets back. And I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
even if we wasn't huge fans, we'd feel that way. But we are all big fans of him as a pro wrestler. So obviously, but fascinating piece of business here, Monty. What did you make of this?
Yeah, fascinating. Definitely a promo. I know we said it for the promo that opened up the show, like a promo of two halves. You know, well, this was, you know.
Yeah,
this was like one of the most.
Yeah.
This was one of the most jarring examples of a promo segment of two halves I've ever seen in my life, to be honest. Because genuinely, I thought Darby's, you wouldn't call it performance, but Darby's words at the start were very, you know, it felt very real because you would assume that it is real. You know, it is very real, and you could feel that, and you know, he emoted very well. And you know, you really kind of connected with what he was saying, and it was like, damn, you know, like he's actually gonna go through and do this shit, you know, like what the fuck, you know. I can't believe Tony Khan's not put his foot down, man. Like it's so insane to me, bro. Like I know, like even if it is like, oh, this is his dream, and he's always wanted to do it, and he really wants to do it. So, bro, he's contracted to AEW, bro. It's like, would he let one of his Jacksonville Jaguar players go and fucking climb Mount Everest and be out? Even if he makes it back perfectly safe, yeah, he's gone for like what 60 to 90 days or some shit, you know.
Like
He's gone for a while. Then you throw in the fact that there is a. I know we've kind of like we spoke about. It gets mentioned a lot, and it's been mentioned a lot since yesterday, but relatively, it's quite a small chance that he doesn't make it back. But there's still a chance he doesn't make it back. Like, there's that small chance that he doesn't make it back. And also, never mind the fact that he is literally one of your top young stars in your promotion that you've invested so much into. Like, you know, obviously it's part of the selling point of AEW where talent kind of have freedom to kind of pursue their other dreams and stuff like that. But at what point do you, as the promoter, as the person paying the checks, Tony Khan, when do you put your foot down? Because I feel like this would be it, but obviously not. And you know, I guess it would be too late to do so now. Well, obviously not, because it's, you know, Tony Khan, Darby signed.
Not too late until he actually gets on that fucking mountain, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, but in the sense of like how we know how like, Tony operates about things, it's very, very unlikely he's going to pull the plug on this, pull the rug out of Darby, out from under Darby like this late in the game. But I'm surprised that it's even got to this point, to be honest. Like, you know, as soon as Darby started talking about it in interviews and shit, he would have been like, yo, you do know you're not doing that whilst you're signed there, bro. Like, you know, like, no way. And again, like I said, there is obviously the element of, like, oh, this is his dream and this is what he wants to do. But at the end of the day, there's like, you know, you're running a business and you don't want these potentially fatal, drastic, terrible things that could happen in climbing Mount Everest, you know, to happen to your talent. And you'd think that you'd do what you could for them to avoid situations where shit like that could happen, which, again, I know it's Darby Allin, but at what point do you put your foot down and say, like, yo, we can't do this, bro?
I do think it's what you said there is important in terms of, I do think Darby is like, they have a very unique relationship. He has a unique relationship with the company, I think, and that's part of it, you know? Like, I'm not saying you're wrong, I'm just saying...
Yeah, but going off and doing, like, your big flips on a ramp and shit, like...
Right,
yeah, you might break a leg or something, which again would be horrific. Like if Darby was to injure himself in that sort of way, you know, doing one of his little stunt things that he does that we see clips of on Twitter and shit, you know. It's almost like kind of like Red Bull adrenaline junkie shit. But this is completely different, you know.
Yeah,
like,
I don't think
there's levels, you know.
When I say it's Darby, I don't mean because like he's a daredevil. I mean more because I think what he's given to the company, I think Tony probably feels like he needs to let him try and live this dream. And I agree with you. I understand what you're saying, but you said about when he's under contract. I think the intention is going to be under contract as long as he's in the business, you know? So it's like, I'd imagine they have a very unique relationship. Some of the stuff Darby's done under an AEW banner, like I think there might be a feeling of just like, that's what he wants to do. I will let him do it. I don't know. That's what I would guess. That's what I would guess.
Yeah, again, like I said, it's just at what point do you say, like, yo,
I get it. Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because it's like these other things that we spoke about, we've seen him do. It's like he goes away for a couple of days and he's back on Dynamite literally a few days later. That's not even if this goes perfectly, that's not even
possibility with this. Like when he goes on March 27th, he's gone until the summer at least. You know, like so.
Yeah.
Then obviously you throw in like the small chances of it going like tragically, fatally wrong. You know, so
Yeah.
Again, obviously you're always going to look at it from I can't put myself in Tony Khan's mind. I don't know the extent of the relationship he has with Darby, but even if it is like a unique relationship he has with him, it's still like at what point, you know? He's like, if you're gonna let him do this, what else are you gonna fucking let him do? You know?
What else is there for him to do at that
Exactly.
point? Like, what's his plan Everest?
Gonna
Like,
let
what
him
else
do?
is he
'Cause
gonna
if
do?
Darby's sick, man, he'll
imagine
think of
it's-
something.
I'd imagine it's not something many wrestling promoters have had to deal with. To be honest, it's, Tony Schiavone was talking about Darby on his podcast after the Sting match, and he was like, as Jim Ross would say, Darby's a different kind of cat. And I was like, yeah, I bet that said a lot actually in the AEW office, right? Like, I don't know. So again, obviously, hopefully everything goes well. That goes without saying. So,
Oh yeah,
Thinking about it, Darby.
Darby's one of the real ones. You get me? Like, I can't lose
awesome,
Darby, bro.
yeah. No, he's awesome, yeah. And it should be. I mean, again, it was completely irrelevant of all the other stuff we're talking about here, but genuinely a good idea. The deal with him not only having the bat, but doing like the classic Sting, like the bat in the throat kind of deal. Like that was was cool. I'm excited for the match.
Yeah, I hope these Sting elements stay around, like the Scorpion Death Drop, the bat, all that.
Yeah, I agree
Cool way to
completely.
keep his legacy alive.
We were discussing Julia Hart earlier. She had a very brief promo alongside Sky Blue in which she said there was be an open challenge on Rampage. She had a new nickname that was like the Keeper of Secrets.
Mm-hmm.
The Keeper of Secrets.
What secrets are you keeping?
Which is real crap, some sort of say. So that's coming up on Rampage. Then there was a House of Black promo, I think, after like a break.
Yeah.
Which was well, I mean, this is what they're exactly like all of their promos. Really, it's similar to what we said with Tony earlier. Whatever you think of the House of Black as an act at this point, this promo was in line with that. And they'll be wrestling. They issued a collision challenge for Mark Briscoe, who then it cut to him looking like Mark Briscoe looks. And he said he would fight them 3-on-1, only to be joined by they did this pan where he looked. I was like, oh, who's it going to be? And it was Jay Lethal. I was like, oh, well, fine. Jay Lethal, and it was explained that Jeff Jarrett would also be on the team because they needed I think he called him like a dirty bastard, a downright dirty bastard to accompany them in this war with the House of Black. So Atlanta Street Fight, House of Black versus Briscoe, Lethal, and Jarrett. Monty, that's fired you up. There you go. Talk to the people. This big six man. Go for it.
That could be some good horseshit right there. Jay Lethal, Jeff Jarrett, Mark Briscoe in a street fight. And, you got the House Black in there. It'll be a good time, Mark Briscoe, though, man. Mark Briscoe just fires me up, bro. It's like you got House of Black doing their shtick, and it's like it's all like whatever the fuck they say. And Julia Hart has a little signing off message that's meant to be all eerie and that. Then, as you said, Joey, it cuts to Mark Briscoe looking at only. Just fire in his eyes, and he cuts like a no nonsense promo, and it's just like, again, that switch was it's quite jarring. It was just like, I fucking love Mark Briscoe, man.
Yeah.
This is graps,
I do wish they'd have built in like a on-screen explanation of why Mark helped FTR against House of Black, and they're just like, good luck, bro. They've never acknowledged that.
I thought it was going to be FTR that in this segment, and then he panned over to Jay Lethal. I was like, oh, all right.
It's one of those things where we obviously get it from an actual booking point of view. You finish the FTR House of Black thing, but it would be nice. Even if Mark had a line about I'm not letting them help me because they've already dealt with these guys. Even that I think would help. Maybe he did and I missed it, but I haven't heard any kind of acknowledgement of that. Which because their beef with Mark is that he helped FTR, right? I think from the cage match. So I don't know. Nonetheless, are you tuning in? You fired up for Collision now, mate? Atlanta Street Fight locked in.
I will be tuning in. I'm not the biggest House of Black guy. I like Brody King. Think he's a really good horse. I love Mark Briscoe, my guy. I think this is the proper way to use Jeff Jarrett. I'm a Lethal guy, but I can admit that his AEW run has been pretty fucking boring. But I think when you put him next to guys like Briscoe and Jeff Jarrett, I think I think only good things can ensue. So I'm fired up. I'm fired up for the Atlanta Street fight.
Absolutely. Okay. Main event time, folks.
Mm-hmm.
Will Ospreay, following up on the big time match with Takeshita from Revolution, straight back in action. The match they announced on Revolution, right away after the match was done, they announced this. It was in doubt for a moment there with Will's injury, but the match was confirmed. Kyle Fletcher, Will Ospreay. They put some time in here too. They went like 20 minutes. He gave Kyle an awful lot. Probably too much, but we understand there's a relationship, right? They're really close. Like, I get it. But, man, they tore it up, and they absolutely rocked this building. They were loving this. Ospreay has really felt like an injection of kind of just energy right now. So this was a big hit for sure. AO, what did you make of the Dynamite main event?
Never seen anything like Will Ospreay on United States Wrestling Television before.
Yeah.
That match was fucking insane. Ibu tweeted about it earlier. He doesn't know if this epic style is sustainable or if this is what his actual style is gonna be, or if he just did this for Kyle. It's like, I'm sure he just did it for Kyle. It's one of his best friends. Wanted to give him the best match possible that they could have together with 20 minutes on television. I loved this match. Kyle Fletcher has gone from a young guy who understandably people were really high on, but you look at him, you're like, he's kind of a fucking geek, ain't he? But to now, he's a young stud, bro. He's got on the juice. He's ditched the Piccolo cape. You feel me? New gear. The haircut he's got another crazy haircut. I don't know why he didn't stick to whatever he had going on Sunday, but because Sunday he had like the same haircut, but like he didn't like bleach his hair to straight piss. But he decided to do that for some reason. But whatever. We won't get that right, Kyle. But yeah, he had another great showing. The three-peat between the Danielson, Omega, and Ospreay match. I'm buying this Fletcher stock, bro. I think he could be a real player in a couple of years. He was in there going blow for blow with Ospreay, man. And obviously a lot of that is Will Ospreay. Like we said, he plugs anybody competent into his match. Like it's gonna be a great match. But Kyle was giving it as good as he was taking it. I really enjoyed this main event.
Yeah, to your point, Fletcher's offense belonged here, right? Sometimes Will sell for guys that their offense doesn't match up, but Fletcher definitely has the offense to have this kind of match. Well, as you saw here, I mean, it was believable and it worked. So, yeah, really, really strong main event. Monty, what did you make of this one, mate?
Yeah, it was all right. What?
I just like the way I built it up and I threw it to you, and this is going to be good. And it was all right.
I will tell you, I was very fired up to see Cole Fletcher not look like a fucking, like he said it himself, geek. The cape and the fucking all that stuff. I couldn't do it, Just as soon as he would walk out from a match, I just as much as I'd like Aussie Open, it was a bit more appropriate as part of a tag team. But when you're coming out as singles and he was like a lot smaller and he's got this cape on, I'm just kind of like, fuck it out, man. Like it's but he hit puberty. He's got on the juice. He's ditched the cape. No weird gear, no weird face paint or shit like he done on the ROH show before. And yeah, man, as for Ospreay, I think you mentioned it like last week or something, Joe, and it was like, let's imagine that Ospreay hadn't wrestled in AEW up until Revolution. Right. It's like the Takeshita match was kind of like a perfect of like just the crack cocaine wrestling that Will Ospreay does, that really high paced, high offense, just crazy athletic ability, like all these things, wrestling another stud who can hang with him, And I think there was some elements of that to this as well, where this was kind of another wrestler who was just kind of a mold of someone who Ospreay can just get his shit off with, and then you add into that the element of Ospreay clearly wanting to make this match something, as AO and as yourself have mentioned, with Cole being such a close friend of his, and Cole hung around in there as well. It did get a little bit excessive for me personally, but that's not me saying I thought it was bad or anything. That's just more personal preference for it. I didn't think it was anything that kind of took away from the match because the crowd was with it, man. They were popping for all these kickouts and all these things, you know what I mean? So, me saying it was excessive to more personal taste isn't me saying putting the match down, if that makes sense.
No, I get you completely, yeah. Yeah.
The only thing that I was like, maybe this is too far is him kicking out the hidden blade.
He needs to
didn't
protect
know.
that move more.
Yeah.
Like,
He needs,
I didn't-
we were
Ospreay's
talking-
really let that move like slip
Yeah,
down in his
it's-
arsenal.
it's like how, we were talking earlier about how AEW should pat themselves on the back more. It's the
Mhm.
same mindset in terms of like, that move looks way too cool for him to just let guys kick
Yes.
out of it. So like
Right.
that, especially that version of it when it's like the running, jumping, hidden blade. That's
Yeah.
like the coolest move in wrestling, like
I've seen it. It's less jarring to me now because
he
unfortunately
lets
for
everyone kick
Ospreay-
out.
Yeah, bro. Like every epic he has, which is pretty much every match he's been having, especially as he was wrapping up on the Indies, and obviously with his effort level, as long as he's got a somewhat decent opponent, most of his
Yeah.
matches will be epics. If the positions are there, and so I've seen a lot of. Like, I don't even. Like, my brain doesn't register the hidden blade. Like, he's just like a standard one without the elbow pad being dropped and fully set up and built as this big thing. Like, I don't look at that as a finish
Yeah.
anymore. Like, when he just hits one as a counter or something like that, or just like out of nowhere and it's just really explosive or whatever, I'm never expecting the person to get freak out because
It's a
he lets
shame,
everyone
because
kick out of it, man.
what you just described, a counter out of nowhere, to me, they make the best finishes.
Yeah.
Because you get people like this, like the one when he winds it up, while it looks awesome, they're usually flat. Flat's not the right word for this particular case because they had the big dramatic ending, but like generally they're the ones that get the biggest reactions. So hopefully, again, it's not something I'm sweating this week because it was his first one and it's Cole Fletcher who we know he wanted to elevate. But like if he's wrestling, I don't know, if he's wrestling Matt Sydal in the opening match of Collision. Well, Matt does not need. I love Matt Sydal. He does not need a kick out of your coolest move. You'll be fine. But
We're picking
again,
that side out against everyone today.
that match would be sick. Right? I mean, we could do it.
It
But,
would.
No, I used Matt Sydal earlier in like the Okada thing because he's a good worker, but he's not a star.
Yeah.
So it'd be like
Oh, yeah.
uninspired. You'd be like, oh, these graphic people would pop for, but it's just like, is this what you're paying Okada $5 million a year for? Like,
He's wrestling
I know-
Okada.
I
He's
know it
wrestling
was
Kyle.
like- I know it was like a passing of the torch in Great Britain kind of moment, but didn't Aku like kick out of a Stormbreaker, bro? Or am I imagining that?
I don't know. I didn't see it.
he at
I
least
think
kicked out of
he
hidden
kicked out
blade.
he kicked out of something just absolutely ridiculous, and I think it might have been. I think he let him kick out of the Stormbreaker, bro.
I
But
would
it's that long, and I only watched
I
it
can't
once, and I'm
remember.
never gonna watch it again. So
You might
Okay.
have. I think you're right.
I'd have to go through my videos. I refuse to watch
think
the
you're right.
episode.
see that someone in the chat said that happened. Like, I remember seeing like what he's let. Like, again, I know it was a passing of the torch kind of moment for the British Indies, and he really wanted to do everything he could to put Aku over like as big as possible. But like, again, like
It's fine.
That's
I'll watch
his
this episode.
his intentions are always like
Yeah,
positive.
but
He wants to have the
yeah.
best match. He wants to. It's just sometimes he needs to protect his stuff more. But again, that's something that we'll kind of track as we go here. I don't want to.
Yeah.
I think we're all like keen on kind of reiterating this has been a great start to the run. To be clear,
Yeah.
right? That's important.
Absolutely,
But,
absolutely. It's just
yeah,
some
it's
nitpicking.
been
good
great
match.
start.
Yeah.
Charlie, what did you make of the main event?
Dude, if you told me like 5 years ago that Kyle Fletcher and Will Ospreay would main event a Dynamite, I would have been like, well, that's not gonna happen, is it? Like, that's not gonna be a thing. But no, I love this match. I thought it was really good. I was kind of surprised that they did it so quickly. Like, I thought this was something that they were going to build to for a while, but then they just announced it at Revolution. I was just like, oh, okay, we're going straight for this. But I think Kyle had a really great performance here. He's really grown into what AEW want from him. Because they clearly see him as a massive single star, and he's putting in the effort to like be that sort of wrestler. Ospreay on TV is fucking hilarious because he clearly doesn't know what ad break is, because he was just wrestling through those breaks like he was still on national TV. It was very
You see that
funny.
fucking Tiger Drive I posted?
Yes,
That thing was
like,
gorgeous. I'm like,
I
yo,
appreciate
saw you
it,
do
man.
that.
I appreciate it though, because when you're watching on
Oh,
Fight,
yeah.
like some of those matches die.
Yeah,
Some people
man.
just completely just stop.
Yeah.
Like
Like,
I remember
for
Takeshi and Eddie Kingston on Rampage during Picture in Picture like 2 years
Oh,
ago,
yeah.
bro. They went full King's Road firing up wedding spirit sequence. They just kept dropping each other on top of their head and firing up and doing it all over again. I was like, bro, nobody saw you guys do this. But, I'm sure the
Yeah.
fans appreciate it in the arenas.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. Again, I appreciate it. It's it's
Yeah.
good stuff.
I'm really glad
Folks,
that Ospreay's kept all of his presentation as well, like with elevated, like
Yeah.
the insane gears
Oh,
that he
yeah.
has, like, and the US crowds are living up to expectations. They haven't fucked up the Ospreay chant yet, so I'm very happy.
It's a great
Chuck, you
presentation.
notice
Great
that
presentation.
Kyle didn't throw the crowns up on his way
He
to the ring
didn't.
last night.
Wow.
He did a Revolution, but he didn't last night. It's very interesting.
Didn't do it last
I'm
night.
terrified. Please don't break up the factions that I
Well,
like.
there was a little bit of that story at play at times where like it felt like Will was kind of treating it like a spar between friends, and at times
Mhm.
Kyle
Yeah.
was the one who
Kyle's
would
like,
ramp
"I'll
it
just
up.
kill you."
Vicious about
Yeah.
it.
That was cool. I like that element. There was some post match, folks. Before we get to that final call for any super chats, please get them in now before we get to some. This is some big business to close the show here, right? Will Ospreay, the victor, goes over and consoles Cold Retro, and all of a sudden there's a theme playing, and this is like the ultimate pro wrestling oh shit moment. Right? As soon as you realize what was happening, it's like, oh my, we're doing this now. Of course,
couldn't believe it.
Brian's not one to waste time. We should have known.
No,
better,
he's
right?
not.
He gets
He sees a match he
because-
likes and he's like, "Give it to me now."
generally in situations like this, the issue is like, but what's the finish? And then you realize with Brian, that's not a problem because of course we know the finish. So this, of course, it is. But Brian Danielson, Will Ospreay stayed out and closed the show. Simple question for this one. I'm intrigued what everyone's take is. And usually I would avoid this phrasing, but with these two guys, I think it's fair. Is there a professional wrestling match in the world with a higher ceiling than this right now?
Right now, no,
It can't be, right?
no.
God,
This
match
thing
is
could be
incredible.
outrageous because at some point Brian's cell of the hidden blade is going to be disgusting.
Oh,
Like we're gonna think he's been killed, dude. It's gonna be
mhm.
it's gonna be like a horror shot. It's gonna be crazy. What do you think, Dynasty for this?
Yeah, Dynasty.
Oh yeah, the way they
Definitely
set up that
Dynasty.
frame, they had the Dynasty advertisement in the back, like they were purposely separated across the ring so you could see it directly in the middle. They're so running it in Dynasty. I'm gutted that I cannot go.
Chuck, you know
This
me
is-
well enough to know this is a big deal. I considered going when I saw this. I said, I'm
Bro,
gonna go to St. Louis.
what they're setting up for that pay-per-view, I'm like, I
Bro,
need to
they're
be there.
not
I
pla-
just
that the projected card for Dynasty right now is insane.
Yeah.
crazy.
It's the way it
We
should
thought
be, man. They've
Revolution
lost
had
it.
a really sick card. Like they
Yeah.
are
It's
not
Like
there.
Joe considering to go in fucking Missouri.
I was, honestly, because I was like
It was-
Swerve and Joe, Ospreay. Honestly, man, good luck to the matches that are going to follow this one, though. You got
That's
good
probably where they
luck,
run a
like-
card at Eddie as well. Like
yeah, it's gonna be special. Monty, I assume you're excited. You seem sort of dismissive of me there and my glorious plans and living the dream over here, plotting trips. You're dismissing me.
Fucking a
Come
flight to
on.
Missouri is crazy.
I was supposed to.
No,
to be fair,
Missouri is a shithole, but St. Louis is a really fun city. It's the
And
only thing
in-
to do in Missouri.
I was supposed. Do you remember what St. Louis was supposed to have a pay per view a couple? This is kind of a forgotten
Yeah.
thing now, but they were supposed to have a pay per view. I was supposed to be going to that pay per view.
Oh my
So,
God.
Oh wow! What was
There's
it going
long
to be
term
like? A full
storytelling.
gear or something like that?
Full gear, yeah, and it ended up posting. They had the Rampage, and it was going to be the night after that. It got pushed back because like the UFC. I want to say or
Mhm.
Canelo, but it was the Rampage where Eddie and Punk had like the famous promo segment. Like it was supposed to be that weekend initially. So
Yeah.
it would have been a long term payoff for me, Monty. That now you've been so spiteful. You've made me regret even bringing it up. What a shame. But anyway, folks, the point is we're very excited, and this was a hell of a Dynamite, right? I think we've kind of established that. Hell of a show. Final thoughts, I guess, on Dynamite in general. Let's just kind of conclude things. Monty, any final thoughts on the overall quality of last night's Dynamite? Go for it.
Overall quality, I didn't think it was a great show. I thought it was more like an alright show, but in the sense of like it achieved the kind of signaling that they wanted to, especially obviously in the first segment, which I did talk about earlier. But I thought they achieved what they needed to as like a season opener. Although I didn't find it like a 9, 10 out of 10 Dynamite with 2, 3, 4-star matches and all this and that. Like there was some weird segments, but there was also some good. There was good and bad shit, basically, But yeah, I thought if the mission was to kind of set things up for the new season going forward and signal who were going to be the main players in this new season, I think they achieved what they needed to. And I like the stage and the new theme and intro. It's a shame about the barricades and stuff, but can't win them all. And Dynasty's shaping up to be a great card. So yeah,
Absolutely. I definitely see your point. There was definitely some flaws on the show. And I think the second hour was much stronger than the first. But overall, I think I was higher on it than you were in the end. Charlie, what did you make? Overall thoughts on Dynamite?
I feel like it was a really good post-Revolution Dynamite. Like they sold a lot. Like they continued. They like summed up a lot of the stories from the pay-per-view and like put little bows on everything. But the in-ring action, like for the most, like outside of like the women's match and the main event, it was just kind of there, to be honest. But yeah, I thought it was really good at like setting the scene for what to expect from this year, and they've set up some long-term stuff for the company, and it's a very exciting time.
It is exciting. It definitely feels like a healthier promotion than it was, right? Definitely like when we were doing this a few months ago. It's been a pretty quick turnaround in that regard, actually. Super quick. Any final thoughts on the episode?
I thought it was a great episode. For a long time, AEW couldn't do go home shows and they couldn't do like post pay-per-view shows.
Yeah.
I think they did a great job of referencing the pay-per-view, tying neat bows on things that needed to be tied up, moving storylines ahead with the Bucks. The Bucks acknowledged thing was like, fuck that guy. Because we got Okada now, all that stuff. Swerve acknowledged that he didn't win the triple threat, but his eyes are still set on Joe. He's still determined to be the champ. They had the Kyle Fletcher Ospreay match. They made sure to show highlights of the Takeshita Ospreay match. I thought it was a really good episode. Moved things along in AEW really nicely. Set a lot of things up for the future. I liked it a lot.
Tremendous. It appears we have one final super chat. Am I correct?
We do.
Wonderful.
1 second.
Wonderful stuff, folks. We hope you've enjoyed this.
MazFan84, $2 super chat. We appreciate you. Okada run back to the 30 under beatdown angle in AEW. That would be some great shit.
Yeah.
That was the most like we said, like Okada's been doing the same thing for a while now, and him deciding to just like he hates young guys and he's just gonna beat all their asses was like the most inspiring thing that they've done with Okada in a long time. So I think him like making that an aspect of this new like EVP dickhead shit would be good shit.
Yeah. Definitely want to see him in Garcia in particular, right?
Right.
That's a natural one.
All in last year.
You did.
I've been feeling for that match.
Yeah, that was an interesting time where Fran matches out for All In. It was a different time, folks.
It's very strange that Okada didn't make that card because he was telling the newspapers, he was like, yeah, I want to be part of All In. Why wouldn't I want to be part of All In? Just call me. He just didn't get booked.
Because the All In build was bad.
I just thought of like one of the matchups that would fit that mold, but it's a shame because it's not really possible anymore, and it's a shame because of the direction this person's going in. But EVP suit wearing dickhead Okada versus Jungle Boy Jack Perry would have been like very good.
Would have been really good. Yeah,
that would have been awesome.
It's a shame, man. I think we're at the end of the podcast now. I think he's fucked, and it's it's. I know he's young and things can change.
Yeah, it don't look good. I do agree. He is young, but it's not the reset you'd hope for, right? It's like, it's gonna be a shame. Hopefully things go better than you're anticipating. Frankly, I'm anticipating either at this point, but
I'm choosing to be optimistic. He has a match with Shota in front of 6,000 people in Chicago, Windy City Riot. It should be good if there's not too much.
That's the concern, right? Yeah, my concern isn't his work; it's just the way it's presented now. But
I never took to him as a heel worker, man.
He only had a few matches though. He had a good one with Hook. He had a genuinely good one with Hook. One of the ones with Hook was good. The Van Dam match was pretty good. I think he did okay. I mean, he wasn't as natural, but I think he showed some promise.
It's just not natural. Then the character-wise, I thought it was like appalling.
He's not a good promo at all.
The character stuff was fine. It was the fucking promos, bro. Like them sending her out there with the microphones to just die was just why? Why were you doing that?
Yeah. Some guys that aren't great babyface promos, you turn them and it like unlocks this like hidden skill. Yeah. He was not. He felt the same way just as a heel, right? It wasn't good. I felt like he was playing wrestler, unfortunately. But what way to close the show. Anyway, big business next week. Was slightly surprised they didn't push that harder, but Big business. That'll be a big one for the Dynamite crew.
It's big business. It's like they dropped it. It's like, all right, here's your obvious hint. Like, okay, Mercedes is going to be there, basically. Like, they've said that.
Yeah.
Dropped the graphic, big business, made it pretty obvious boss turn and all that shit. In terms of like the general like promotion throughout like the weeks, bro, the crew will tell you. The crew will tell you, Joe. It's not enough. It's not. It's not been enough.
How many tickets there?
7K.
7,000.
They're on 7K. They're
So
just,
definitely
just past 7K.
they've stalled a little bit, didn't they?
Stalled a lot, bro.
Yeah.
Stalled a lot.
Yeah.
Because they
I
came
thought they
out
were
the
going to
gate and
hit
got like
10K.
they came out the gate at like 6.
Yeah.
They got
Like,
pushed
all
hard.
right, let's get Mercedes. You know, like Mercedes got that interview that dropped. I think dropped an hour ago because there was like the whole situation earlier where I think from where I was sitting, it was like Evan Mack, the wrestling podcast at Mercedes, they uploaded the link to schedule it, but mistakenly actually uploaded the whole thing on Apple Podcast. So there was a few people who managed to like get in there and listen to it, and once you got in there, sort of thing, and already played it, it's like it was there then. I was a little bit late, and I was like, "Fuck! I need to find this Mercedes Moné interview so we can aggregate it and shit." And Joe Hulbert, I'll give you one guess of who had the full interview on MP3 ready to send it to me immediately. The member of the WrestlePurists universe.
I have no clue. What
was it the Hooper?
He wasn't. No, he was a member of the WrestlePurists universe.
Oh, the universe. Okay.
He was in the chat earlier. I don't think he still is.
No, I don't know. Sorry, I was thinking it was Manny as
Jizzle,
well,
bro.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Jizzle had that shit MP3. He got it downloaded. Sent me the Google Drive. What a beast.
Good.
Was able to get all the quotes and accurately aggregate it and stuff. So
thank you, Sir Jizzle.
Shout out to Jizzle for that one.
I was honestly had no fucking clue what you were talking about. I was just like, what? I was like, did Ibu have this? I didn't understand what you were.
I was thinking he was going to put the connection of like Mercedes.
WrestlePurists viewer.
Sir Jizzle. Yeah, like.
Didn't happen. To be fair, you know what time it is here right now. I mean, what do you want from me? We're on the air for 2.5 hours. All right, let's do some plugs, guy here. Montgomery, you're our fearless leader here. What are you? Anything you want to push? Anything you want to plug?
There's a professional wrestling content channel called WrestlePurists, and we do live streams very much like this one. Yeah, we're going to try and do a few more like actual videos rather than just the live streams as well coming up over the next few months. So keep an eye out for that. What else would I like to plug? Keep sending super chats. I feel like I'm missing something.
What about your personal Twitter account?
I mean, it's if you want to follow it, I'm not very responsive on there, you see. I just kind of tweet. I kind of just tweet loose thoughts.
Yeah, he does.
So, if you ever want to argue with Monty, just go to his personal Twitter account.
He loves it.
Disagree with it. He just loves it.
I don't even... Sometimes I feel bad, like some people, I'm not really promoting myself well here. I'm great on WrestlePurists Twitter, I'm great on the Montel WP account. Talk to me, interact with me, and let's do some stuff, let's talk some graps and
really showing us how it's done here. I appreciate it. All right. Chuck, anything to promote, anything to push, go for it.
Yeah, I've got a couple of things actually. So last Friday, I had something come out with Wrestling is Too Much Fun. We did a podcast episode. It was a Revolution preview, so it's a bit outdated now, but I forgot to plug it when I hopped on the preview shows last week. So check that out. Also, I did a podcast episode with Grapple Theory that came out today, tomorrow, I don't know, at some point this week. For International Women's Day, we were talking about being women in the industry and all that sort of fun stuff. So check those out. I'll retweet them on my page again. You can go find them. Yeah, that was a lot of fun doing those.
Wrestler of the Year. The campaign is taking shape. It's coming together, folks. So please do support the cause. All right. AO, feel free to promote some things and then take us home, mate. Go for it.
I'm just doing my thing. Just doing my thing out here, Joe.
Yeah, man.
Feel me? Stay tuned in for the tweets. Stay tuned in for the tweets. If I got something to promote, I'll put it out there. Nothing really right now. Might do a collision watch along Saturday. Monty, we doing the show Sunday?
Girls on Raps is back on Sunday. I should
Girls
have
on
said
Raps.
that.
I did wonder that.
Will
Yeah,
be back on Sunday, and WrestlePurists podcast, in theory, should be back on Sunday, depending on what sort of lineup I can get together. It sounds like KO's available, so that's a good
I
start.
should be available.
It's a good start. It's a good
All
start.
right,
So yeah,
man.
probably
Booked,
two.
brother.
Probably probably the Sunday doubleheader again.
sweet.
Yeah, man.
All right. Have a wonderful night, folks.
We are out of here.